The month is
Fugazi. I think it's fine to say Fugazi because we have spent 5 years doing a.
Well, I guess it's August, right? It's August.
Well, no. Here's the thing: it works, and I don't know if this is intentional, but we've been saying Fugazi for like 5 years.
You've been saying that, and that's actually
I've been saying it.
When we were
package show.
When we were, is that how he pronounced? Is that what it was all along?
Yeah, there's a live. I think it's the last. Until he reunited with the package. It was like the last Adam and His Package live show in the church, the famous cool fucking church in Philadelphia. And there's like
Hillsong.
a live DVD and a live album. It's Hillsong. When Adam and His Package played their live show at Hillsong. And he does his waiting room cover and he introduces it by saying it's a song by Fugazi.
I don't think, and we are under the scrutiny of our listeners every waking moment of our godforsaken lives.
You are. I'm telling you, just get off the internet, man.
Yeah, you're just oblivious to everything that they're. No one's ever mad at you. Also, yeah, exactly. But I don't.
The cool detachment.
But I want to say something about cool detachment. I don't think you admitted that at the time that you were referencing Adam and His Package. I don't think you've ever admitted that.
It was something that I just kept. It was something that I kept saying, and then eventually I said it was Adam and His Package thing. And you and I have definitely had this exact conversation in like Blink 155 episode 122. Okay,
well, either way, we are doing a month of Fugazi. What I like about the pun, and this one was, I think, it came to me as a pun first. Before I thought we should do the month. I'm excited to do the month.
Even though in your head it had to be pronounced Fugast.
Well, what I like about the pun is that, like, from a design perspective, from taking different Fugazi logos and moving letters around, it's almost completely seamless. And if you put the word August and the word Fugazi on top of each other, they work almost perfectly. Like the synchronicity is beautiful. Not to quote another post-punk band, but like
what is the situation? Because I don't know that you and I have ever talked about this much. It's like, do you have a consistent kind of location, either physically or mentally, that you are in when these things come to you, when like extravagant introduction puns or month like theme?
I feel like I
aesthetic pieces of wordplay come to you.
I feel like I have like some sort of pun based BPD or something. Is that offensive to say? I don't know. I feel like I go through these massive swings. Like there are some days where I just feel like a normal guy, and I'm like, I can't think of anything to tweet. Maybe I should see what's trending and read the trending topics and talk about it with my chums, or maybe I'll go in the Slack channel at work where they're sharing the new, whatever Beyonce song, and I'll have a little chat about that. And then talk
about house music,
and then eventually my brain starts crumbling a little bit day by day, and then I get into these dark nights of the soul that are mostly wordplay based, and I'll be up all night, and it'll be 5 a.m. I'll be like, oh my god, August, and it doesn't even have to be alliteration. It's just basically they look like the same word, and so you could put them on top of each other, and it's perfect. And that's what I love about it. For me, a good pun is something.
I'm just picturing the sort of your mind's eye, your world where the words do in an iMovie transition sort of move over top of each other and blend in, and you're
that
wide-eyed the meme of Hugh Jackman.
It doesn't. It's not a thing that I look for. It finds me. There are seasons, there are lunar phases where I would love to just talk about how dope A24 is with someone else. But then eventually it just degrades, and then I have these visions of wordplay that are completely useless and meaningless.
Does sound biblical. What you're describing does sound biblical.
It is. So that's what I'm saying. But to me, a good pun there should be something about it that physically pains you. And so the fact that the name of the pod this month is, Fiona already texted me to say she has no clue how to pronounce it, and she can't stop thinking about it. That's the kind of tension that drives the idea forward. And I think that difficult tension is also what drives Fugazi forward. And the thing is, every month that when I conceive and design and announce it while you're living a blissful existence over there.
Yeah, well,
counting your
I'm like
money
a golden
that you don't
retriever.
spend. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So whenever I do, every single month since we stopped talking about Blink-182, somebody is mad at us. And today we're recording this on the day that we announced it. There are people who wish we weren't doing this month, and there are people who've pointed out, I think, that a past version of us also wished we didn't do this month. I don't know if you heard this earlier, but this is a clip I'm going to play from the grade episode, whatever that was. So my voice is... I don't know if it will... I mean, will you be able to tell it's an old episode or not? I don't know. Let's play the clip.
Okay.
Hey, Sam, I wonder what grade is up to nowadays. Just kidding. That's not the old clip. That's a fake out to test you. Here's the actual...
I was like, your voice does sound really different. You went up a lot. It was good. That was a good test. I was like...
Wait, is that you in the past now? This is the old episode starting now. Hey, Sam, you want to start a podcast about Blink-182? Here's the real one.
This is sort of like me doing the sounds, the backgrounds. Okay, now it's fine.
I think.
Are we ever going to do Fugazi month? That would be hell, probably. That would be so bad. Maybe we should wait till one of them dies or something.
Okay, so that was the clip, and now it's you and I talking contemporaneously again.
Or is it? Because I think what would happen if there was more Blink-182 songs and Matt Skiba is still in the band.
What would you do? We're just two lovers fumbling in the dark here, Josiah.
I guess back then I had said that it would be a terrible idea to do a Fugazi month. And you know what? That was the old me. That was me thinking about having a million covers of Fugazi songs maybe, or me thinking about, I don't know what I was thinking. But at this point in time, in 2022, the vibe shift. Remember the vibe shift?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I think that Fugazi is an interesting topic because I think, do we both like Fugazi? Do we?
Yeah, well, I was talking to Ashley a little bit before we recorded and mentioning some of the reactions that we had, including from longtime listener Toes.exe saying that we may have finally jumped the shark. And she laughed and said, no, that was when you stopped doing Blink-182 songs.
Yeah.
So... if you're picking now as the moment,
that's interesting.
I don't know if this is it.
We already tried selling out like all of last year, also, and all of the first
I was
half
like,
of
I thought it was
year.
like February into MCR. It's like that. That come on,
Exactly.
everybody, let's. No, this is a band, and this is what I'm so excited about, and what I was telling her is that like you and I both really love this band, but in the same way that we both really loved Blink-182, I think we are but I'm actually curious to find out if in sort of identical ways also know the ways in which this band is inherently ridiculous.
Exactly. And
I'm looking forward to digging into that together because I don't know that we're going to have the same opinions about like what is stupid about Fugazi now, but I look forward to the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The things that people hate about Fugazi, we both understand why. And I think the thing I was already seeing
Too
today
sick.
a little
Big
bit
one.
was like, people bringing up like how much of a wet blanket Fugazi is, which I think is hilarious at this point to bring up because they're just like old guys. Like they've really like imagining them being old guys now. It's like they just feel more at home as picturing them being cranky. Like all old people are cranky, I guess is what I'm saying. And then the other thing is like, where did we ever get this idea that all punks aren't like joy kill wet blankets? Who are just always lecturing you about something. That's kind of the whole point of the whole thing. So that's the other funny part. Is like that's also what makes them very punk is how joyless they are.
It's just that they're old and they're annoyed, and that's punk at this point in 2022.
I'm so excited that we get to talk about 5 Fugazi songs for the month of
big month. It's a beefy month.
Fugazi.
I feel like I'm the only person who's allowed to say it in the way that makes the most sense to me, which I'm excited about. So happy Fugust.
And Sam finally admitting he's been plagiarizing Adam in his package for years.
Someone is in the Discord telling you right now that we've had this conversation before. I promise.
Okay. Well, before we get into before we start talking about the past, let's talk about the present with punk news. Punk news, punk news. Sam, I think I'd like to get started if I may.
I mean, yes, you're more than welcome to. I feel like usually you defer, and so I'm interested just narratively what it is that makes you want to open.
I really...
Are you not as sure of yours this week?
No, I think I think, partly I wanted to feign humility and politeness, but that's already been completely fallen apart by us outwardly discussing how I kind of call all the shots constantly. So that didn't really work.
There's no backstage in this podcast. There's no.
And the other thing is,
which is something I think I keep pronouncing wrong.
Well, how do you say it? Kafabi?
Kafabi. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Breaking Kafabi. Well, another thing is, I think this is kind of, I'm trying to also just steer the tone of the episode by sharing this punk news item from IDSnews.com. Of course, it's the Indiana Daily Student. I want to shout out our friends at It's a Beautiful Day in the Gulch podcast, repping for Bloomington, Indiana. That's where this newspaper comes from. This is not from Purdue. I know that there's some kind of thing about Purdue. Maybe, I don't know if it's good or bad. I just know that there's some sort of color involving Purdue, whether you went there or not. This is from Indiana State University or something. I don't know what fucking universities are called. It's Indiana University. This is the Indiana Daily Student. So this is a second-year writing student writing this. This is Charlotte Jones. And Charlotte...
Have we checked up on Charlotte Jones?
I couldn't really find Charlotte's socials. It's kind of a generic name. I think Charlotte's just getting started in the J game. And that's one reason why I'm feeling generous. But I think the other reason is, I think at the start of Fugazi is the perfect time to really set the tone by maybe doing a more generous read. I think in the past I might have been cruel to this opinion piece. But I think it's time to really put on our inner ear, so to speak. I think it's time to really think, what would Ian think? And I think he might agree with Charlotte's words here. This is opinion in all caps, lest you want to debate. Opinion. Punk rock has lost all meaning, writes Charlotte.
Ooh.
My favorite Dead Kennedy song is Chicken Shit Conformist. And honestly, I don't know if I've ever heard any Dead Kennedy songs other than the main ones. I don't think I've heard a song called Chicken Shit Conformist before. Have you?
Yeah, it'd be like my favorite Dead Kennedy song is California Uber Alice.
Deluxe. California Deluxe. Chicken Shit Conformist is a very funny song title. But regardless, Charlotte writes, the opening line of the song, sung by icon Jello Biafra, becomes more and more relevant as the years go by. Punk's not dead, it just deserves to die when it becomes another stale cartoon. There has not been a band since the 1980s that has embodied the true spirit of punk rock, writes Charlotte. There hasn't been a band that fights for equity in all aspects, respects women, and is not racist. This is the bare minimum for any band, but especially punk rock. The three major tenets, I think she means tenets, but maybe I guess if you're a punk like Waves, you might be thinking about the three major tenets, but otherwise, tenets probably is the thing, depending on, or if you're the band Dear Landlord, perhaps. Other than this basic prerequisite,
speaking my language,
are DIY, community, and fun. Punk is made by the people for the people, providing a community for those who do not fit in. I understand that this is a bold claim. A lot of people will most likely not agree. However, punk rock has evolved past the label of punk rock, transforming into Riot Grrrl, ska revival, grunge, nu metal, and most recently hyperpop. These offshoots have carried on the legacy of punk rock with their radical beliefs and their experimental sounds, better than those claiming the punk aesthetic for themselves and their subpar albums. Yes, I'm talking about Machine Gun Kelly and Youngblood. Let's start with Machine Gun Kelly. I remember him being a very terrible rapper in my preteen years, and later on down the line becoming a mediocre rock artist. The only punk rock adjacent thing he's ever done is work with Travis Barker, former drummer for the Aquabats, one of my favorite ska revival bands. Machine Gun Kelly uses the punk rock aesthetic to cover up his horrific singing voice and lack of guitar skills. He has been accused of not playing his guitar live, but he does, just not with a ton of skill. That's actually true, Charlotte. The videos of him playing are hilariously bad. And also where I got the Machine Gun Kelly jacking off emote. That's
your famous MGK jacking off gif, eh?
His biggest statements include wearing the color pink, which is honestly a pretty outdated thing for male artists to do, and saying he'd like to get with a then underage Kylie Jenner when he was 23. To his credit, he does try to align with the politics associated with punk rock, slapping a pink anarchist symbol on everything he touches and condemning racism when he comes across it online. There's a link to something, I guess probably MGK condemning racism. His merchandise seems to be heavily inspired by the aesthetic of the Sex Pistols, but in a much more clean-cut and corporate style way. He has none of the charm that comes with the do-it-yourself nature of punk rock, but he is signed to a major label. Because he's signed to a major label, just like Youngblood. I'd like to think of Youngblood as the British version of Machine Gun Kelly, not a great singer and covering by using the punk likeness. He's pretty much known for the absurd amount of times he's spit on fans in the middle of a pandemic. He seems to also have the habit of trying to subvert the idea of masculinity by wearing skirts, even selling one in his store in ska-inspired checkerboard print. Youngblood's music is basically the same as Machine Gun Kelly's. The important difference is that Youngblood seems to cater towards a younger fan base. For two people who seem to have a brand built off being radically different, these two are eerily similar. Punk rock isn't corporate. These two artists work for major labels, MGK for Interscope, Youngblood for Geffen, which isn't often seen throughout punk history. If you really want to see what punk is about, go to a local show. It won't be about image, I can almost guarantee that. It's also not about being a chicken shit conformist like your parents, as Jello Biafra and the rest of the dead Kennedys so eloquently put it. Charlotte Jones, they/her, is a sophomore student studying English and journalism. You know what? Again, I think Charlotte kind of laid it out pretty nicely. It's a very concise little piece. And you're correct, Charlotte, in noticing that there's two people kind of doing the same thing at the same time. Now, maybe when you get older, like me, and you're looking down the barrel of your late 30s, and you've been spending, decades online and having these dreams about Fugazi puns, maybe down the line, when you reach this kind of post-ironic fugue state and people are sending you MGK Funkos in the mail, you might start to understand the appeal of it. But, to tell people to go to a local show instead of supporting this bullshit and to be like a passionate young journalist, I think you're doing a great job. And I think kudos to Indiana Daily Student for running this piece. And I think it's great. And also, it came out today. It was 1 hour published before I searched.
Wow, this is hot off the press.
It's because it's Fuggist. So yeah, that's my punk news.
I guess there's going to be a lot of this in the MSM in the coming weeks, as everyone sort of dusts off their Fuggist, pieces they got to run.
Exactly.
It all feels very rote. Unfortunately,
being anti-corporate is back, baby.
This could have been Ian could have written this himself. I think that's just great, and I bet Charlotte loves Fuggist and loves this band.
And Charlotte, check out "It's a Beautiful Day in the Gulch" too. It's right in your backyard. You're gonna love it, I think.
Well, I wish this was right in my backyard. This story comes from the GW Hatchet, my favorite source of punk news. I couldn't tell you what the G or the W stands for, but we'll figure that out eventually. A pie shop, this must be a local pie shop wherever GW is. Pie shop crosses dessert with punk rock for an unconventional bakery experience. Wow, that's pretty interesting. There's a beautiful photo.
There's a really nice looking pie, but I don't understand how it's punk related.
Well, I mean, let Nick Perkins, who I haven't looked up yet.
I'm trying to find. Is he British? You think? You think Nick Earl of Marl?
It's yeah. I mean, maybe the GW Hatchet.
This guy's a self-published novelist. I don't know if he's
the George Washington University community.
Oh my God! It's all college papers this week in punk.
There we go. So we're just saluting students,
kind of
and appropriately enough,
vibe.
I get this. Exactly. The pod is $5 or less, and it is mostly all ages. Now, what about this pie shop you're thinking, Josiah? I mean, I think you literally asked it. How have they melded both pie and punk? Well, Nick Perkins tells us pie shop isn't any old hometown bakery like Record Scratch, not your mom and pop's pie shop. Though the pastry shop has everything you'd expect of a modest bakery, it's kind of shady. The pie shop on the H Street corridor offers customers an unexpected twist. Enjoy a sweet treat of your choice with a side of punk rock. While patrons can choose to indulge in a variety of sweet or savory pies, they can listen to the musical stylings of punk rockers dedicated to playing at this underground venue. So evidently this is a pie shop.
Venue, okay.
And a venue, but during the day, they also play punk rock music. You can buy a pie by the slice for between $7 and $9, or get a whole pie, $36 and $40 in the back. And it looks like Nick, went for pie a couple of times and then went back to watch bands.
They should have they should get the pie tasters to play there. Would be a good band.
They should get the pie tasters to play there. But Nick Perkins seems like he's really embraced the punk pie spirit here, writing about grungy guitars and heavy drums and gravelly tunes. So if you're in the Washington D.C. area, and you want some punk rock to play your pie,
last time, I don't know about this because last time in the Washington D.C. based area, last time there was an all ages venue that also specialized in a certain kind of pie. It was Comet Ping Pong, and I'm afraid now, this is kind of like, like give me one of your boy pies or whatever, the code.
Well, I guess
I can't really remember the code, but
No, yeah. Well, I think it had to do with pizza toppings, right? And so what I'm curious about is if they've moved, because obviously, it turned out they had moved the operation before anyone could uncover it, any patriots could uncover it. Is like, have they switched gears here, and now it's all happening at a pie shop? And like, what do you think?
It's just called Pie Shop too. I mean, that's
it's quite simple, but like
that's scary.
Is the buttermilk custard pie, like, what does that mean versus what does the apple cinnamon pie mean? Has Q cracked?
I mean, also to be clear, nobody go there if you really think that. Maybe don't. It's probably not that. So we could
listening to this podcast. Like, are you just doing this for like legal purposes when people?
Yeah, just in case.
Okay. Well, you know what? And I just want to say I agree with Josiah. This is Sam Sutherland speaking. Thank you.
Comet Ping Pong tweeted February 25th of this year. Just announced we've got singer-songwriters Jack Symes and Rennie Conti at Comet on Sunday. This show has been moved from Pie Shop, and all Pie Shop tickets will still be honored. So there's definitely Comet Ping Pong and Pie Shop are definitely in cahoots in the pie-based punk all-ages scene. So
we should stop the pod and
that's as much as we know. That's as much as we can say is certainly true. What we do know for certain is that Comet Ping Pong and Pie Shop are working together. What are they working to do? They're both delivering pies. What does that mean? I mean, that's not, that's this. Maybe we're ending punk news on more questions than answers, but it's just how it works sometimes when you're doing this.
Playing right now or anything?
I played the theme song. What were you saying? I was trying to get us.
Is it okay?
That was such I feel like the way that I ended that was some real podcasting right there. It was like some only murders left in the building kind of shit.
This was the episode where you finally became the podcaster.
Exactly.
This is the moment for you, Josiah. This seems like this was the only song that we could start with, right? This is like the big hit from the first, quote unquote, true full length. It's so good. Like, we started this episode and I immediately was just like, the song rocks so much. Really, we got to save it.
But I hate it actually. I don't like it at all.
What?
I mean, I've talked about
fucking shit is happening here.
I've talked about it before on the show. Fugazi was my first difficult thing that I forced myself to get into. And it's an action that I gave up on for many, many years. And then I used those skills again to force myself to like Imagine Dragons or whatever. So it's kind of like it's been a dark power that I've used incorrectly.
Same muscle. Yeah.
But so to me, the production and the nasty, disgusting, like, and the drums, everything sounds like shit. But I do think the chorus is really fun and it earns the chorus. But I think, like, it also, when I listen to this, it gives me this visceral feeling of, like, being so hungry and being at a band practice that's going on, like, 2 hours too long because everyone's goofing around and wanking and, like, it sounds like shit. Like, it just makes me feel this kind of, like, sweaty hunger of a band practice gone too long. And everything sounds slightly out of tune and askew and gross. In a way that ultimately, I think this is a perfect way to start because this is some shit that if you like Fugazi, you love this song. But you also probably, if you don't like Fugazi, there's a lot to hate on in here, I think. Because there's a lot of nasty stuff in this song, tonally.
Yeah, there's like, big nasty vibes for sure throughout the song. But I really thought for a second there that was like just a massive years-long kind of bait and switch on me, where it was like, we're going to have this month, we're going to talk about this band that we both love. And you were like, I hate it. Fuck you. I've never liked Fugazi. I never convinced myself to like this. Look, you and I have talked a lot about this. We've talked about Fugazi on other people's podcasts in terms of this being the thing that was like, okay, everyone says that this is very important, and so I will simply study it until it sounds good to me. But I cannot separate that. That to me feels like the abstraction now, whereas just starting this song right before we recorded, I was like, oh my God. Like what you described of it being like a band practice gone on too long is I think like what I love so much about it, because everything in this song feels like something I could do on guitar. Like it feels in the same way that, and then obviously the chorus and the rhythm section stuff is more exceedingly complex. But this idea that like the Ramones didn't own the idea of like you could play these great pop songs like very simply or whatever, this sort of distillation of pop music or like just a good song into something that kind of anyone could do. And like that's sort of what this song kind of feels like until it snaps together and coalesces in this like shockingly hooky chorus.
It's so like jaunty. It almost sounds medieval at the chorus. Like the little clean guitar.
You dance around a maypole to that.
Yeah, the clean guitar. If that was being played on a pan flute by one of Robin Hood's friends, what are those guys' names? Little John, maybe could be playing that.
Yeah, the Little Johns.
It's like it's very jaunty. Shockingly
Robin
jaunty.
Hood, friends music. I mean, let's see what they're. I don't know. It just says he has friends. It doesn't identify what their specific names are. Yeah, but that's the way that those things meld together, and so I can understand you just being like, "Good God, this is like everyone is." But I had never really like, despite it being impossible to kind of grow up into the music we were into and not being exposed to so much that was written about Fugazi that we then subsequently felt like we had to find a way to like them. But like, I have not really done like an extensive amount of reading about like any one kind of album in particular. And one of the things that I thought was quite sick, because like the Washington City paper basically makes like a living. Clearly they have like an entire a desk or whatever, a bureau dedicated to like Fugazi think pieces, and like there's this insane infographic that I'm sure we'll find a way to talk about at some point. It's like all the various local charitable organizations that they've helped out. But this is an article. It's now over 10 years old, and so the links are dead. But this must have been around the time that they started putting out the live bootlegs, because basically Fugazi have made an attempt to catalog every single one of their live shows on the Discord website. But this is basically like the history of Repeater through progressive live performances, like from the very first recorded one, like into the present. And it's like so sick. And if you like do like this band and you like this song, this is like a cool thing. And so the links are dead, but you can go onto YouTube or you can go on the Discord site and find most of these and sort of piece it together. But one of the things that they talk about, which truly I didn't know, was that like the way that those sort of guitar squalls or whatever sound is just designed to like mimic the production of Bomb Squad on the Public Enemy records, which like I genuinely didn't. Did you? Is that like a thing that everyone knew? I mean, I don't. A fucking idiot about?
At this point, I don't know anything anymore other than just that August and Fugazi kind of look similar if you squint.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I know. We can start at that baseline. So that's really sick and cool. And I mean, when I was saying that this song is annoying and sound, this seems to be like an evolution of a jam, really. Like this is, everyone has been annoyingly Grateful Dead posy the last few years. I think that's done now. I don't know what everyone's into now. I don't care. I'm not going to go outside ever again. But whatever it is,
everyone's really into Lockheed Martin this week.
It's true. I actually think, for real, this isn't a joke. I think I know somebody who is involved in a punk scene in a city somewhere who I'm pretty sure secretly works at Lockheed Martin.
Well, it turns out everyone secretly works for Lockheed Martin.
So
I don't think you've
sick.
talked. To be fair, Josiah, I think you've referenced the fact that you like maybe have
have a new job.
but you have never said who
That's
you work
true.
for, not even to me.
Well, me and a few other journalists have started a little vertical at Lockheed Martin. It's going to be like real good music journalism. We're only going to talk about like cool progressive bands. And we have
That's
funding
awesome.
for the next
That's
6 months, and then they're going to turn it into a real paper. They're going to get all your favorite writers from Gawker are going to be on it. And,
Are going to be?
no, I don't work for
benefits must
Lockheed
be
Martin,
crazy,
and you
yeah.
do know where I work, so don't lie, don't pretend.
Okay, because I guess it's not funny. Yeah, Josiah does not work for Lockheed Martin, but you guys don't know where I work.
Sam works at Pie Shop.
Man, a lot going down.
I don't know why you're
at the shop these days.
I don't know why your experience as a camp counselor helped you get a job at a pie shop, but no. But anyways, this Washington City paper thing is like an evolution of a song jamming, and what I think doesn't work about this song musically at first, at least, and I still do like the song, but like it's jarring and I find it difficult. But I think the reason it works is because Fugazi. Okay, first of all, Fugazi, I think. And I just double checked. Ian MacKaye is actually a boomer, but I think he's a boomer playing to Gen X. Really, like I think Fugazi's a Gen X thing. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think Fugazi is the best possible output of Generation X for the most part. I think that it's like this is the best.
I was thinking the same thing because we've sort of obsessed around this like a little bit over the last year, few years of doing this, and I totally agree. Like looking back on this, you're like, no, this is sort of the full promise of like the ideals that you would at least hear superficially espoused in the art that we consumed from that generation.
Exactly. And then because of that also, I know for a fact that Ian MacKaye and the boys they do respect and love like classic rock, which I also do. And I think that there's like some classic rock and, as you said, some hip hop coming in. So all of that lends itself to like creation and destroying and recreating songs over and over again. So the reasons that this song doesn't necessarily work are also probably the reasons why it's sick live, because there's the blueprint of something here that can evolve and change, and those annoying wails can be different every time. And I like that's just to me what the promise of Fugazi is like this is music that you live in for a long time, even though it sounds really annoying at first to anyone with ears.
Well, and I kind of feel like to me, listening back to the song, I was like, I think this has all of the elements that are present in like my favorite Fugazi songs, because the sort of just discordant, like you can do this, like I play an SG, like if I try hard enough, I can sound like Ian, right? Like that element of it I just love, and the like the locked in rhythm section with just like the way that the guitars are, I fucking love that. And then the chorus is so catchy, which is like reminiscent of like, we've talked about some of our favorite songs as and you and I don't know any of the other songs that we are doing yet this month, but like my favorite Fugazi song is Public Witness, because like that one is like basically a pop punk song, and this chorus is still kind of basically pop punk, and then the bridge is like the kind of epic problemy, like
the bridge,
best version.
The bridge is
the
like
best version of the groove that some people hate.
I feel like the bridge
has.
also like listening to this, you like hear the invention of Spock rock, white belt shit.
Yes,
like, it's
exactly,
all in
exactly.
There. You're totally right. This does have everything, and I feel like I almost feel like it's like a good first song to talk about, because if you can like this song, then you'll like every Fugazi song or most Fugazi songs. But if
totally.
not, then I still get it. Like that's fair. This is a difficult hump, but once you get over that hump, there's a lot to love. I think. I don't know. It's
once you get over the hump, there's a lot to hump.
Oh my God.
And I think that's why this is like also, one of the band's most popular songs. And so there is just like entirely too much out there that is kind of repeater related. Of course, there is a repeater beer that was made by the Two-Tailed Lion, which doesn't look like I can't tell if this is an especially like popular local brewery in Leicester. Is that how you pronounce that?
I think that is. Yeah, you nailed it. You could have gone right through that. You didn't have to. But I know it's tough. It's tough out there. Everyone's out to get us, and I have to hear the brunt of it because you're too busy doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah. It's yeah, sorry about that, man. But you're like, of course, there's a beer. I mean, it's a light and scrumptious session IPA brewed sublimely to enjoy the sunshine. That's Repeater. But there's also like the closest thing I think we're gonna get to like Fugazi fan art, because there's like paintings and stuff, but there is like Repeater art. So on Etsy from Miss Pickle Prints, you can buy this tape, and again, it's just perfectly Gen X, right? It's like a tape, and it says Fugazi Repeater on it, and then it has the lyrics to it. So you could put that up like in your home.
That's so awful. I hate it so much. Actually, I did have, I also did a quick poke around because I was just having too much fun getting excited for Fugazi. Speaking of the art, and I do want to ask you in a second, maybe we can figure out what Repeater actually is. It? Well, I'll just ask you, is it referring to a gun? Is that just all it is? Or is this a song about a gun?
Yeah, so there's like a lot about this being sort of a play on Revolver, like the Beatles album, and so it's Repeater, and it's a reference to a gun. And the song is like about the sort of rash of violence, related to, I believe at the time, the crack epidemic in Washington, like in the late 80s.
Okay.
And so the idea of these sort of deaths and people being sort of slipping through the cracks due to addiction and a lack of support in society, that they were just sort of being reduced to numbers.
That doesn't really explain to me why this thing I sent you is called Repeater, but this is made by Cinema Speaks on DeviantArt, and it's a drawing of a fire alpaca. It's kind of furry art, a furry character, wolf type of face in front of an actual photograph of Washington, D.C. So this is another this is what Cinema Speak says, another Trust Flex tablet and fire alpaca drawing. This is just a simple doodled headshot of Ghazi. The background is one of my photos of a rooftop taken in Washington, D.C. The title is the same as the Fugazi CD I bought while in Washington, D.C. Guess where I got his name from? So this is a character named Ghazi, named after Fugazi. So that's kind of cool.
Are there more I'm trying to look up more drawings of Ghazi.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out. And let's see.
Some of these are quite spooky.
Yeah, there's I'm seeing a lot of foot fetish stuff on here as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. Maybe, you know what? Okay, so maybe you don't want to put up, foot fetish art on your walls and you didn't like the tape, but maybe I can interest you with this piece of art from soundwaveart.com, where you can buy what looks to be like just the sort of like Ableton generated waveform, rather Audacity, like, a good freeware piece of software. So you can get the waveform, put that up on your wall, and let people know that you're a punk who also is like a little, I guess, cerebral.
So what is this? So this music soundwave art created from the songs, because in order to buy this, you have to click a disclaimer. I understand. Music art does not work with our app. There's no way to listen to it. And you have to click I understand to order this for $12. This image of Repeater. That's amazing.
Huh.
Now, does Soundwaves...
They've had people think that they're buying like an MP3?
I guess so. Do Soundwaves, like, visually... Is it something you could learn how to read? Like, could we learn how to look at this and read
that's
it?
interesting.
Or would we only be able to know volume swells or tones or something?
I think I bet if you, like, if it was zoomed in pretty good and you spent, like, a good 2 or 3 years studying, like you went to like a college program for studying sound waves.
Like visually studying them.
Yeah. Can you read a sound wave?
Man, we've been talking about Fugazi for like 10 minutes, and we've already gotten so deep into how good college is. That's an interesting new vibe.
It's quite telling. Here's just like one sort of final piece, because there's some more stuff that's not as good, but I really love this piece of fan art. This is from a bootleg.
Oh my God.
Live 7-inch that is Repeater and Return Runaway. And
that is so sick.
How it looks like I don't know if it's like a Mad Magazine drawing or something.
It looks,
but like,
I mean, it looks kind of like metalcore or something, or like even like just like early hardcore kind of drawing. Like everything these guys are freaking railing against, but it's sick as hell. I love this.
Yeah, so this is
from
like
Holland.
some cool. Yeah, so some weird Hallish Fugazi bootlegs for you there.
That's so sick. I wonder who's the artist. It doesn't.
I couldn't find like anything else about that.
Yeah, it's
I just thought it looked
a blank
fucking
label.
awesome, and we might want to share it at some
sick.
point.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Well, are we just kind of showing each other stray items that we found in poking around?
I thought that was like I didn't think it was necessarily stray items. I feel like there was a really coherent.
Of course,
to that conversation. That sort of implies that it was
visual. I'm so
it was sort of willy nilly.
visual.
We were the influence of the band into their the fact that there is some different art that we were
So
sharing.
it's a song about a gun. It's a gun song, and that's cool. I mean, that's already pretty sick. But the chorus is 1, 2, 3 repeater. What do you think that means? Or are they just trying to get the kids dancing? Or is it just meant to be like almost a dance move, like do the repeater or something? What do you think the counting is?
Well, I mean, I think like literally it's the idea of sort of, people being reduced to numbers or whatever. But I think that as a more exciting interpretation, I think the idea that it's a countdown to a dance move, could this become like a TikTok thing or whatever?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, that'd be cool.
Is anyone who listens to the pod like active enough on TikTok that you can like, influence culture?
Yeah. Does anyone listen to the pod, by the way?
Is anyone here?
I hope not. Yeah, I mean, should we talk about the lyrics at all? Is there anything else about the lyrics that are good? You say, I need a job. I've got my own business. You want to know what I do? None of your fucking business. I mean,
it's so
that's
good.
Ian MacKay's lyrics are so good. And I feel like he's obviously a grumpy baby, and he's a big baby man he's basically the boss baby of punk, for sure. But he's also like low-key very funny. He's very funny also.
That's the thing is like there's no transition to like I'm joking mode, but when you see him in every doc that has ever been made about punk, or like even those like kind of things that he would do, the hearings around like keeping venues open in Washington and stuff, and like he'd be very passionate, but he'd also be like he's a funny guy.
He's funny.
I think he just because he knows he can kind of get away with it. It almost feels like he's doing it for his own amusement sometimes.
I feel like
he's obviously aware of how people perceive him.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like he's like probably he's in a world where everyone around him talks in like an NPR drone and is like so boring and just listens to like really expensive world music records and drinks expensive tea. Like I just feel like it's like pretentious, highbrow Gen X, like pre-hipster culture, basically, like art gallery culture. It's kind of the vague idea of the kind of realm he's in. And to be the goofiest guy in that world is still to be like way more serious. Obviously if he was like in a Blink-182 realm, he seems like a grump, but he's probably like the class clown of like a really boring class. If that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. That feels like the correct way to situate him. Is like not necessarily like in reference to like what we see in riding in vans with boys, but to see it in relation to what we see in Instrument.
Exactly.
Like that guy is funny compared to the movie Instrument.
And then verse 2, he references Down by Law, I think, right? I mean, or maybe he's just referencing the phrase, but I feel like he's probably a Jarmusch head. That seems like something he'd be into, maybe.
It's at least referenced in Genius. Like, I wonder if Fugazi, Jerem, but it feels like that's like same, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he probably doesn't want people to guess what his lyrics mean. Because he's
right.
People
like, this is a
might accidentally
to
start
loving
him.
Jim Jarmusch. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I think that's kind of cool to like do something that could be low key a reference. Like, again, his lyrics too, or Guy's lyrics, or I don't know if does Ian write all the lyrics or what? Also, like, I think we should have said this at the start, but it's pretty obvious, and I think I've even said this before. But I just want to still level set. Ian is obviously the Mark Hoppus to Guy's Tom DeLonge, right? I mean, is there any debate about that?
No, there's absolutely no doubt.
Yeah.
The fact that you had to say that, I think,
Is that patronizing?
Listeners, yeah, we're all offended.
I'm sorry, everyone. I just thought there might be some new people with all the slick marketing we're doing for this unpronounceable month.
Yeah,
that we've apparently jumped the shark with. Okay, I just think it's interesting. I wanted to look at the lyrics because I was thinking about how it's 1, 2, 3 repeater, and I was thinking, people have probably said that a lot, and you pointed out the brewery said that, and I was having some fun, doing filter verified, checking out what some verified accounts have said about Fugazi today, and I think that's definitely something we're gonna have to revisit in the future. But I found this really good one. I was just seeing if anyone had tweeted the lyrics, and this guy had tweeted 1, 2, 3 repeater, and he did it, when was this? December 19th, 2009. He got 2 likes. Okay, it's not very good.
Wow.
But
were we ever so young?
So this is Gary Wiseman at GWise55. Do you know who this is?
No.
So this is the drummer of Bowling for Soup.
What?
And
He's sick.
His interests are drinking, cooking, playing Mexican train, catching things on fire, watching people pick their nose while driving, and avoiding getting stabbed. Now, I'm worried that Mexican train is something that I don't know what that is. That is Domino's. Okay, that's good. Because the reason I'm worried is because this guy, if you look since then, there's been an interesting tension with Rage Against the Machine coming back and people getting upset about Rage Against the Machine lyrics because they're so lib. Well, this guy tweeted 1, 2, 3 repeater in 2009. His most recent tweet in January of this year is that he set up his account at Getter, the marketplace of ideas. Prior to that, he spent all of his tweets defending Kyle Rittenhouse in late 2021 and retweeting various right-wing talking points and whatnot. So this is very interesting. This ain't your average Fugazi fan, the drummer of Bowling for Soup.
Wow.
He also tweeted, has Apple support totally gone to crap? Can you no longer schedule Genius Bar appointments online? I just made that happy hour my bitch. # Dizzy. It's kind of a really interesting guy all around.
Do you think, and this is, the rage thing is also, probably relevant in this conversation. Do you think that most Fugazi fans are like, and I include, we're like a very low bar to clear in terms of like not being shitty people, but do you think that they are mostly like us and then like better people than us? Or do you think that most of them are probably just like that guy?
I don't think most Fugazi fans, I need to stop looking because he's in 2014. He said, P.S. Jarrett's farts sound like he is choking a duck. This guy has some pretty good,
pretty good wordplay.
Other than other than the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff, obviously it's fuck Kyle Rittenhouse. The official 155.
Is Kyle Rittenhouse a troop?
Okay, Sam. Okay, you need to calm down. No, I think most people who like Fugazi are like, like upper management at design agencies or even, political. Actually, a lot of the verified blue checks that we're talking about Fugazi being dope are like producers on sports TV shows and stuff. I think they're like, it's just like libs.
So that's
who are, I mean, obviously the person
Pod Save America producers, like that kind of thing.
Who we're trying to get on the show this month, obviously, is Beto O'Rourke, who I think is
that's the
ultimate
number one. If you know Beto, if you're listening, if you know Beto. But that's it. Like, I guess it's mostly Beto and people like Beto, which is to say, like,
I feel
great,
like
Beto, if you're listening, really fucking cool, a very demonstrably cool guy.
Now stop listening for a second, Beto. Like pretty lame dorks who are just fucking sellouts.
Pieces of shit. Absolute pieces of shit.
Fucking losers. And then there's us. We've got it all figured out. We're somewhere between Beto and the Kyle Rittenhouse supporting drummer of Bowling for Soup, I think.
Yeah. I feel okay with that. I mean, I think we can endeavor to improve, but that's that's fine. Yeah, I'm not surprised like that you saw a lot of tweets about it, because this is like such a beloved album like across the spectrum. I mean, I think you and I will get into this throughout the month. We both have our favorite Fugazi albums that I don't think either of us, I can't say neither of our favorite album is Repeater, right?
I don't think I've even, I'm sure I've listened to it, but I didn't own this when I was younger, and I remember whenever I'd put it on, I was like, this is a bit much for me. Because I prefer the later stuff. But I think I mostly know these songs from Instrument, which I watched over and over and over again.
Which is, we will talk about this month. It is like one of the greatest, documentaries, ever made. I have this on, I don't know a ton. This might be the only Fugazi record that I have on wax. My sister gave it to me one Christmas, and it's quite sick. So I've listened to this a lot because for a while it was one of only a few records that I.
Your sister's not older than you, right?
She is younger and punker than me.
She's younger, but she's definitely older siblinging you in many.
Giving
you a Fugazi record is definitely some older sibling energy.
Yeah, well, we talked about this. I think when she did a Sclusy around the literary world of Jawbreaker, she also gave me a Jawbreaker record. I was already into these bands, I just didn't know. Anyway, listen. This is a seminal record by many accounts, but I only recently realized that you could do this because I was looking for some. Let's hear the other side.
Right.
Someone who, because you and I are making fun of it a little bit, but we love it. Who thinks Fugazi fucking sucks? And searching Fugazi sucks, Fugazi Repeater sucks. It's hard to find something specifically about Repeater, but I did find albumoftheyear.org, a website that I think I've mostly ignored. I thought it was sort of like an AllMusic kind of, or a Discogs, I guess. Just sort of like IMDb for albums type situation. But it clearly allows users to rate and review albums like more of a musical letterbox.
It's more like letterbox. I think I'm trying to see. I think I used this website in like the early 2000s or 2000, I guess.
Oh, so do you have some reviews here?
I don't know if I can find my username. Maybe not. I don't know how you do search by username. But, I definitely have used it before. And it's weird that there's not a letterbox for music because I feel like there's enough like just absolute psychos out there that it'd be perfect.
Totally, yeah. I mean, there should just be one website that's like Goodreads, Letterboxd, and then album of the year, so you could just always let everyone know how you could curate all of the things that you do with your private time to make that also part of your public and online persona.
Exactly.
I can't watch this movie. People will think I'm fucking dumb. So on album of the year, it was interesting to see not necessarily people who don't like this record because you just can't. You're not legally allowed, I guess, to post really negative stuff about like you can say Fugazi sucks or like they're goofy, but you can't be like Repeater is bad for these reasons. I guess the internet just sort of Google just deletes it. They're running servers in the Comet/Pie Shop pizzerias in Washington, deleting all your negative Fugazi posts. That's a conspiracy I could buy into. But there are user, reviews of this album that are just so baffling to read because you and I who love this song are like, well, it's a fucking funky sounding jam, little rough on the palate to start. But for example, user Grinhill or Greenhill, I don't know, they've disemboweled their name, and so I can't quite tell. Or Green Hall, maybe, or Grin Hall. Anyway, Grin posts this take, and does this sound like the Repeater that you know, Josiah? With a charismatic and fun sound, Fugazi creates a highly enjoyable punk rock record that would also lay the foundations for post-hardcore. I find it to be somewhat nostalgic for some reason, especially on the second half of the album. Well, I can tell you why it's nostalgic.
Especially, you dumb fuck.
So you would correct that. But would you describe Repeater as being charismatic and fun in sound and overall a highly enjoyable punk rock record?
I feel like that almost is why it's so jarring because it actually is too fun at the chorus.
It's so fun.
There's too much charisma and fun when it gets all jaunty. But yeah, I don't know about Greenhill. I like some of the other ones on this page that you've showed me here instead.
What's your favorite?
I think everyone just likes to say. Scorpy says, I very thoroughly enjoy a few of the songs in here, so instead of shitting on this album conventionally and hurting it, I'm simply going to describe it using one word that coincidentally describes the polar opposite of how my cock felt during this album, unbearably stiff. That's weird. But most people are just saying, AB Dog AWAD said, being called repeater doesn't mean to repeat the same lame riff. Only one good song, Blueprint. Disappointing. So
Yeah, Blink and Miss It. I wonder if that's a reference to Blink. And this has 69 likes, so close to the sex number. Oh, no, they've rated it 69. Again,
true.
close but no cigar. Their review simply is aptly named because it is very repetitive. Okay.
So sad.
Don't you like hearing riffs? Like, all I want to do is like, do. Like, if that bow,
That
bow,
part's so cool. I mean, I bet you if
big
you,
bow, bow. Oh my God. That fucking part is so good. That part should last like 10 fucking minutes. You could not repeat that part enough.
repeat or well, you know, oh fuck, I forgot
But I barely know her.
be doing that the whole episode, and I got so caught up
Did
on
you?
the other thing. I was
You-
planning to do that the whole time. Fuck.
I like that you stumbled over it, and I was like, "It's mine."
I was gonna be saying it, you know, since second to zero. I was gonna be saying it.
It's a very Josiah.
Well,
joke.
while we're
It
looking
really
at
is.
people's reactions, you know, I can't wait to see what else you've got for us. But I do have a few. Just there's a lot of like album reacts to this album and the songs. I thought we could
course,
just
yeah,
quickly
yeah.
do a quick tour of them. I mean, I don't know if we even need to see this guy, and I know he's your buddy.
Would you
so I
look at
don't
the
know.
time?
He's-
It's time for another review in Classics Week.
I don't know what is that kind of. So that's what's his name? Anthony Fantana. What,
Anthony Fantana.
What is
the,
that
the
sort of?
Nerdle droid.
What's that thing where you are pretending to be a robot when you talk into the camera? It's very like 2005 kind of like
Yeah.
thing. I
Well,
feel like
this
it's in
review
commercials
is a
now.
little older, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is 2014. You know.
Okay. Well,
it's just-
he likes it, but you know, I'm not. I just wanted to have him here for a second, just
Right,
maybe
just
to make
let
you
him-
squirm in case you
put
plan-
featuring in the
exactly
in the
yeah.
episode description. Yeah.
But you know, this guy likes it, I guess. But there's my favorite thing is not Anthony Fantana; it's the people who exist in his wake. So this is Vinny Shred.
Hey everyone, it's Vinny
Yes.
again from Vinny Shreds, from Vinny
name's
Shreds
Gunn?
Punk Blog. Here, let's go.
Wait, why does he say
Gun
Vinny?
from
Hey,
Vinny
everyone.
Okay, hang on.
Shreds?
His channel's called Vinny Shred. Is his name Vinny Shred from Vinny Shreds? Is that what it is?
Hey everyone, it's Vinny again from Vinny Shreds,
It's Vinny
from Vinny Shreds Punk
Okay, it's
Blog.
Vinny
From
again
Vinny Shreds
from
Punk.
Vinny Shreds. Okay.
It's Vinny again
next
from
album I
Vinny
wanna
Shreds. Vinny
review
Shreds
is,
Punk Blog. Okay, gotcha.
Fugazi. Who remembers Fugazi? They're another
Who remembers
punk
Fugazi?
band, hardcore punk band from DC. I've
He
been in
keeps.
this hardcore.
I
punk
think
phase
he's
rolling
recently.
up his sleeves
And,
to show.
Are those
These
fake?
guys
Done with a
Sharpie.
marker?
Kind of killed it.
Yeah, those are definitely like
had
Sharpie
killer
tattoos.
guitar movements.
Is this a
kind of-
joke? Is this
I
maybe
think
a
this
sketch?
is a joke.
Okay,
this
that
has got to be a sketch.
maybe it's a sketch. Let's let him finish, but I'm gonna look at some context.
Okay.
Unlike anything
Comments
else.
are turned off.
This is their album cover right here.
59
You
views.
can see that. That's,
All right, we've
that's
gotta watch
their
this
album
whole
cover. Right there, that's their album cover. Great album cover. It's a little backwards in the screen, but you get the idea.
I think
Okay,
he's
he's
joking.
joking. He's joking.
band
This
was
is
led by
funny.
Ian
Vinny Shreds is
McCain,
dope.
Who's been in a bunch of other bands. He's been in Minor Threat too. They just
He
killed
did,
it.
like,
They killed the
the
DC
Germs
scene,
review,
and
Bad
this album
Brains,
is probably
Naked Grey
Fugazi's best
Gun.
album. Definitely hardcore punk. Definitely what you want to hear if you want to just like let some emotions out. Yeah, that's all for Fugazi. Repeat, just great album.
Shut up, Vinny
Yo,
Shred.
shout out Vinny
Okay,
Shreds.
this is Kubi Muziksi Garaz.
Fugazi, repeater.
Now I don't know what he's saying, but this one
Great
could be a
logo.
joke too. It's hard to say.
Cartoon.
Fugazi,
Kinda like a-
skąd taka nazwa dziwna. Fucked up, got ambushed, zipped in.
That was cool.
Yes.
Żołnierzy, którzy walczyli...
Does anyone
People
understand
that
what
watched
he's
the
saying?
video, he sort of touched. He went like letter by letter on the cover, and then he kind of did a zipping motion with his hand.
And then it cut back to
zipped
his cool. I mean, admittedly cool, but I don't know
Fugazi
why
to
he's using it.
formacja, która...
a lot of cold opens.
w latach.
Yeah.
Najbardziej to chyba w latach 90. Repeater to jest płyta z 1989 roku.
I mean, I don't know what he's saying, but I
Ta
believe
konkretna
him.
edycja zawiera jeszcze...
Why would he lie to us?
So there's this guy too. This is
Hello. Welcome back.
I love him.
Wow.
Welcome to Surface Noise if this is your first time. My name is
Hello.
John.
He's got
For
Funkos.
today's video, I will be doing another album.
This
my
was
Top
posted on an
100
official
series.
Discogs blog. I don't know if this is an official
So,
Discogs video or
for
whether it's
today,
Surface
that album
Noise. This
will
chill old
be
man goes through his
Repeater
100
by
top.
Fugazi. So let's get started.
I love this guy.
This is the kind of-
So,
Paul Myers.
Fugazi
Mike Myers' brother.
is
This is
Ian
the perfect
Mackay,
level of
Joe
YouTube voice that I
Lally
like.
and Brendan Conti with Guy.
Real Brendan
Gatto.
Conti? I don't think you can say that.
Ian Mackay was, of course, in Minor Threat. I believe
He's
the
so
drummer
relaxed.
is Joe Lally. I think.
No one
He
has
was in
ever
Dead
been
Nasty and
chiller in front of a camera than this guy.
And he's in front of a
Guy
TV
Figliato,
too.
Rites of Spring.
For some reason. Got an almost
There was
famous
another
Almost
poster.
Rites of
Famous
Spring who was with
poster,
him
yeah.
briefly,
All of his
but he went
vinyls.
back to Rites of Spring, I think. Not sure. But I do know Guy Picciato, Ian Mackay,
This is from last year, by the way.
Fugazi, along with Joe Lally, I believe. So
So wait, what else
think
is on
that's
this
the lineup.
channel? It's just
I believe
more.
that's
It's
the
his
lineup for this
100
album,
favorite
anyway.
records.
Repeater, Fugazi.
Okay, cool.
My favorite Fugazi album. I do think that this is as good as a record can get. I don't think there's any weak spots on this.
So he's not one of the haters in
My
the album.
copy here is one I've had
No.
since mid '90s. I think I got this used. Original Discord
He does
label.
seem kind of
you can
Canadian.
see the
He
back.
he is Canadian. Okay, called it.
Here you've got
Yeah.
a nice sleeve there. With,
Oh, it's so relaxing. I love
that.
this guy.
and you got here. You got all the lyrics.
Check out his banner on his
Take a
YouTube
look.
page. So sick.
Oh wow, yes.
So
This
he's just like a
here.
record nerd who, he has time. He has all the time in the world to talk about how much he loves Fugazi. So that was kind of the
Who's
old
on?
head. But then I thought we could check out what this young gun also thinks. He's just got a couple more here. You're probably typing that you need to pee, which is fair.
No, no, I wasn't. I was like, he looks so much like Paul Myers. I was like, is this Paul Myers like YouTubing under a pseudonym? But it's just like another like guy with white hair and black glasses.
Yeah. I mean, I think he has like a full music blog. You can check out surfacenoise.ca. Someone once told me that CDs are better than vinyl because they don't have surface noise. I said, listen, mate, life has surface noise. It's a quote from John Peel. And then it animated, and then there was a saxophone silhouette in the background. This guy's so fucking cool. I wonder where he lives. Probably.
You gonna try to dox him?
Yeah, why not?
This guy rocks. What's his street?
Let's ruin his life.
What's his social insurance number?
No, I just mean like, I for some reason I assumed Ontario, but it'd be cool if he was in like Regina or something. If he was like,
Where is he? Did you
I can't figure it out. It's hard. It's hard to figure out.
Does Surface Noise not have a like a Twitter account? I feel like people always put their location in their Twitter account.
That's true. Let's see.
Let's check it out. See if it's in the description
Jake.
of any of these
Oh,
videos.
Greater Vancouver area. There we go.
Oh.
Shout out Jake from the Greater Vancouver area. Love Surface Noise. Keep up the good work. We love your 100 best records. But that's kind of the old head. I thought let's check out what a young gun has to say about it. So this is Culture DTC TV talking about it. This kid. He opens with a Fanta sip
Hey guys,
to reveal
what's
his
up? It's the Culture
braces.
Detective here, investigating your favorite
The
albums.
Culture Detective.
Favorite albums, and today I'm going to be doing an album review on a classic album. Because lately, I have not been very positive in my album reviews because I've been mostly reviewing albums that came out in 2020. But you know
Yeah.
what? I'm just gonna take my
Go
time
back to the
off,
olden
relax
days.
a little bit. And
This is
talk
I feel
about
like we
an
got a
album that's
regular
released a long time
Cynthia
ago,
Jones on our
and it's
hands
a
here.
Great album. And this album would be
Charlotte?
Fugazi's
You talking about?
Repeater.
Charlotte Jones,
And
sorry.
So, Fugazi.
Look, I thought it was amazing that I
band
came
from
close to
Washington,
remembering.
It was
D.C.,
close.
A hardcore
So this
punk
kid
band, but a very unique
must be
one.
like 14.
That-
He's kind
and
of got
Repeater
Lights Camera
is their
Jackson
debut
vibes.
Album, even though
He's in front of a
each
bunk
the
bed.
members of the
I love
band
him.
had
I
a
love this
history
kid.
Of playing music for different bands.
Sleeping in a
before,
bunk bed, probably got a
and
desk
they
under
finally
there,
arrived
where he
and
does his homework.
converged into Fugazi, which is one influential hardcore punk band. I forgot to mention that the song Waiting Room is such a friggin' banger. It just slams hard. I really love the bass riff of the thing. And there's a live footage of that video on YouTube, and it's just the performance is just so raw. And this album,
So that was a
Repeater,
jump
is
cut.
Doing the
in
pod.
year
Yeah,
he forgot to
1990,
mention that, so he-
it is not one of the newest punk rock bands of
This is
all
my favorite
times,
part. I
but
heard
it
this
still
earlier.
sounds like it's way ahead of its time.
It's not one of the newest
And
punk rock bands of
also,
all
what
time.
makes this hardcore punk album really unique is that this album plays on dynamic and odd song structures.
Yeah, I mean, this kid's nailing it. I would love to watch the whole thing, but it's 11 minutes long.
Okay, well,
so-
I mean, that was great, though.
So instead, I thought just finally we could just watch from the YouTube sort of reaction world. This one I thought was interesting because it has another seminal album from my life, and then one that I don't care about. This is a silent unboxing video of Modest Mouse's The Lonesome Crowded West, Lord's Melodrama, and Fugazi's Repeater. I guess it's not silent. It's just very low volume.
And it's also not really an unboxing. They just appear to be like used CDs that are on a couch, and the person filming is just flipping them around.
Oh, there. Is this not unboxing to show off that sick?
Well, it's opening. I don't think that's opening up a jewel
Ooh,
case. I
that
don't know.
the white backing on that jewel case was so beautiful. Such a slick move from Up Records on this. Look at these
What
photos.
are they saying? What are they? Shh, be quiet.
It's plain
Is
teeth like
it
God's shoe
music
shine.
that's
Look
playing?
at that. It's Modest Mouse. Let's all have another Orange Julius. So I thought this was silent when I was checking it earlier, but I guess there is some nice paper crinkle going on.
Yeah.
See that
Oh, we
this is
just
produced
look
by
at the-
Calvin Johnson. And then go to Lord. Don't really care much about that, but we can get to eventually Fugazi.
Oh, and this is the CD version. It includes the 3 songs.
Nice CD. Check the
I mean, the design, the cover is so fucking iconic.
cover's iconic. It looks like the liner notes are a little
The
stripped
font
down.
is that like Arial? What is that?
It's like
not-
I don't even know what it is.
It's
like,
not a great font.
no, it's beyond Arial, but it's like it's not even. It doesn't have the cleanness of Helvetica. There's something about it that
No,
is
it's not Helvetica.
dated.
No.
So this is just kind of
It's kinda
the
great,
CD
yeah.
unboxing.
Cool.
I never owned this one, so this is my first time seeing the booklet. But that's just kind of some other people's thoughts about Fugazi Repeater.
Wow. Well, one of the things I can't remember what was the name of the previous album review. I expended all my efforts remembering the name of the
Are you talking about the Braces boy or the old man?
I'm talking about the Braces boy. The Braces boy.
Culture Detective. That's the Culture
The
Detective.
Culture Detective. Well, the Culture Detective, mentioned the band's phenomenal, infamous live prowess. So, look at you and I could keep talking about how sick this is. I feel like we've actually, covered that. So let's watch it, I guess, be sick a little bit before we listen to the covers that I hope are awesome and not about to ruin our memories of the song. This is the band playing it in 1991 at a Gulf War protest in front of the White House.
In the Middle East, in this song called Repeater.
What was the monologue before that? We should.
We also have our own war rallies.
Yeah, we got.
He's wearing a cool hat. I mean, Ian MacKay's love of. Okay, here we go.
No, go ahead. What were his love of?
His
just
love
like
of
head-
stupid
headwear?
hats, I think, is another thing that's been misunderstood. I think it's like part of his class clownery is wearing funny hats, maybe.
Interesting. I think there's when he got into like the Evans bucket hat era, I feel like he knew what he was doing.
He's exactly
Because he looked you again, you grow up and you read Our Band Could Be Your Life and you listen to Minor Threat and you do all the shit and then you see this just hi everybody, man in a bucket hat. And it's part of what's so amazing about it is that you're you can be you don't have to always be you can also be angular with your guitars at the same time.
while wearing a silly
but
hat.
he
Yeah,
knew.
he's peacocking.
He knew.
He is. Yeah, I agree.
He knew.
In the 26th will be nationwide marches and rallies. If you guys can make it back down again, you should. It's kind of fitting that we're here in Washington, D.C. Of course, we have the White House. Of course, we have the Capitol. Of course, we have the government. We also have our own war here in Washington, D.C. Last year, the metropolitan area, over 700 people were murdered. And in a way that we've grown accustomed to it here, I hope we can never become accustomed to the tens of thousands of people who might die in the Middle East. There's this song called Repeater.
Yeah, see, this is so sick.
This is so fucking
He's got like a
awesome.
backwards Kangol and he's just doing some shredding.
And like, I want to emphasize, like, they are directly in front of the White House. So this video is like, you know, latticed VHS with like the columns of the White House. Like, they're right in front of the fence.
It's so sick.
We got to get to the chorus here. Like, people are just, because you get different reactions, especially like in later videos, you don't get the same crowd reaction because all these people are old as shit.
So he's not even playing guitar at the chorus.
No. All right, that's pretty
so
great. This is
sick.
another really incredibly sick one, also from 1991. This is at the Sacred Heart Church, also in DC. I mean, we'll talk about this a lot, but like, who's done more for the Rickenbacker? Like, truly, the Beatles or Fugazi?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, Fugazi does have the same iconicness of the Beatles, I think, as well. When you just look at them.
Oh, yeah. And I will say this, the like no moshing thing does mean that everyone is like dancing in the kind of like sweetest way. In
Yeah,
these shows.
they're dancing like Peanuts characters.
Totally. Okay, we're gonna watch this to the chorus again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, and you can even hear the squalling guitars are totally different this time.
Yeah.
It's like, I love when songs have a part that you can do whatever you want with. Oh, this is so sick.
But okay, the interesting thing about that is again in the Washington City paper live history of the song, they talk about this. So they talk about how so Chad Clark remastered the album in 2005, and so there's some stuff that like he kind of talks about it, like he talks about the kind of Bomb Squad thing, but he also sort of talks about how you'll hear in like different rooms like the way that the song kind of always sounded different because they're playing in such, you know, if you're playing out in front of the White House versus you're playing in a church basement versus you're playing in a gymnasium, you're going to get like such dramatically different sounds, and you hear that evolution. Again, this is like a very cool, like it's very easy to Google it, and I can't recommend it enough to go on that like journey. Like every night wasn't as intense because it's so much dependent on the moment, the makeup of the crowd, the feel of the room, the personal situations of the band members all contributed to the particular execution of the song each night. Sometimes it would flatten out and feel like we weren't playing it correctly, and then it would snap back. The guitar sound was heavily dependent on the physical interactions between the guitar and the amp, so the space could seriously affect the song. Sometimes it would depend on the room. It depends on feedback. The rooms have different acoustic properties. Some have soundproofing, so when you played the song, you get a skeletal feeling, like you can't find the heart of the song.
Oh, it's like so sick.
And so I was trying to find...
Maybe it's not punk. Maybe that's why people don't like. Maybe it's like just too cool to be punk. It's just like you know, music or something. It's very musical more than like to have room to jam where you're like trying to find the song. I can see why that's annoying to some people, but that's like my favorite shit. Like I low-key
trying
love
to find
jamming.
the soul of the room.
Yeah, it's so sick.
Well, you're right, and it's interesting. And again, this is where like again why I'm kind of excited about this month is because that what you've just said makes perfect sense, but that's definitely not how I would describe the music that I'm the most interested in, and I'm sure not the way you would describe it, right? Like, but there's something in that where like this is the band that I want that from. I don't want that from a lot of bands, but like I want that from this band, and you see that through these videos, the way that the way that it does sort of unfold in these like ways that are affected by the like vibes of the band members in the room.
If you like squint or like just change the outfit slightly, some of these performances could appear in the like late second half of the Woodstock movie. You know, it's like not that far off.
Totally.
It's kind of
Absolutely.
sick.
It's like, what if that vibe was sick though? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was trying, it's interesting because I couldn't find a lot of like later era live versions of it. And it was actually like interesting to go on Setlist FM and try to see like the sort of wax and wane of this song, because like when it first starts, it's like in every set list. And then they like go through a couple of years where they just clearly are sick of it and they're not playing it. And then it kind of comes back into the set list. And so they did play it in what ended up being, like their final run of shows, up until now. When they announced the reunion at the end of this month, obviously, because they're all listening. So this is like one of the final repeater performances, which I just thought was really cool. There wasn't video of the actual last one, which was in Bristol, but this is in Boston at the Massachusetts College of Art and Design in April of 2002.
Just like making annoying noises, so sick. Oh, yes! Got the two drummers set up.
Like this was, oh my god, like the coolest era. But also like interesting to note, like in those other videos, like all these people were 10, 12 years younger, and they were dancing, and now everyone's like looking seriously.
Well, I can remember like probably the year before this when Fugazi did a big cross Canada tour, and I was away with my family. I think I've talked about this before, but I was away with my family on a road trip to Winnipeg, so I missed the Vancouver show. And so my brother and I tried to go to the Winnipeg show, but it actually was I think it was a rare not all ages show or something, because we couldn't get in. But I think what I'm saying is towards the end, I think Fugazi did have that reputation of being a band you have to see, even if you're not like up on the lore. So that's probably why there's like so many young people there.
But you're right. Like watching that crowd, you're like, okay, when they show the crowd, you're like, no, it's not that the crowd is older. It's just that they've been told that this is an important thing. And so like when they get to the chorus, you can see there's half a dozen people that know it, but mostly it's just people like watching the way you would watch like an important Criterion film.
Exactly. But
need to care about.
I think at this point also, Fugazi, with a second drummer and with how incredibly full and loud and like intense that was, they're a rare, like, quote unquote hardcore band that doesn't really need to have the hyped audience. Like they could be playing to no one and it would be cool. They could do like a Austin City Limits session. It would actually be so fun to imagine, in the same way that you like to imagine what would happen if the Nazis had won for some reason with the books you read. It'd be fun to imagine what would happen if Fugazi had never broken up and done all
and
the sad old guy.
It would be bad.
Right.
Sorry, what were you saying?
It'd just be fun to imagine, Fugazi playing on Seth Meyers and then just doing
like the
sadder and sadder,
or
like not ever reuniting. They just kept going and did sadder and sadder things. It just became more old and depressing. I think could have been interesting for sure, but.
Yeah, well, maybe someone could write a speculative fiction novel about that, and I would love to read that.
Maybe, or you could consult on the Nazis. I think in this book, the Nazis will be there too.
Right? Yeah, the Nazis won, but Fugazi never broke up. It's like, oh, tough call. Real Sophie's Choice of historical forks in the road. Oh
my god. So now what?
Well, should we pee and listen to covers?
Yes, we should. Sam, one thing about Fugazi before we get into covers is that they love $5. Have you ever noticed how much they love $5? Do you love $5?
they're obsessed with it, and I would say because I took so much of my personality from trying to be punk and pure like Fugazi, I'm also obsessed with $5.
I'm not.
I learned it from them.
I don't know if it's inflation or my own privilege or what, but I feel like $5 is kind of it's not even enough to get like a sandwich anymore. You know, you can't. It used to be $5.
You could get a Tim Hortons sandwich. You could get or you could get like a bagel with like.
Yeah, that's true. If I had $5, I could go to St. Vita Bagel and go to town with $5. That's true, but
Tim Hortons menu. Let's check.
There are very few things that are only $5 at the door nowadays. But there is something that's $5 at the door.
What's that?
Well, it's the patreon.com/155pod, kind of an online DIY space, all ages
Is
venue.
that us?
We are $5 per month,
Wow.
of course. Not
so reasonable.
I mean, Fugazi was charging $5 a show, and they were playing a show like every single day. So that's, what is that, like $155 a month? And we're only charging you $5 a month. So that's kind of like, we're already more punk than Fugazi.
I wouldn't have said it until you did the math, but like, facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah,
so.
Ian MacKay, fuck you.
Finally taking you down.
Should we try to get Ian MacKay on this month, or should we just stick with trying to get Beto? How do you say it?
I think
Beto?
we got to focus on we should try to get him and keep calling him Beto. I think so Beto. That's a real like.
I'm a real.
That's a Daily Show joke.
I'm a real Beto file. I'm ahead. So
right. I think we got to. I feel like if we had Ian, it would just like ruin. This pod is not for Ian.
Having him on to talk about his own band is so boring. But if he had come on to talk about Blink when he was invited, that would have been sick as hell.
Exactly. Like you don't need to. You can. There are many other.
Anyways, the point is, give us $5, please, right now. So just
that's true. Though.
Sign up, so I think the thing about Fugazi that probably turns a lot of people off, and I'm surprised that you've never been turned off by it. Actually, is the kind of like sort of pinky up pretension of some of it, of the jamminess or the art gallery-ness.
But this is the context where I'll tolerate it, like
collarless dress shirts kind of vibe.
I talked about this, I'm sure, before, but like one of the coolest shows I've ever been to was this like live improvised sort of like Jem Cohen screening where it was like just a very avant-garde series of images while Guy and Mary Margaret O'Hara and Ephraim from Godspeed all like just jommed for 90 minutes, and I was like, this is fucking beautiful. Like even
Jem Cohen is so like, tight. Also,
Jem Cohen fucking rules. But like I get that that sits outside of sort of most of the art that I'm interested in, because it doesn't feel like it's to me anything that is like Fugazi related is therefore like really grounded in something that is like it feels very elemental, and I feel like if you subtract Fugazi from that and you just make me watch like images of seagulls while like Mary Margaret O'Hara goes like ooh like that, if it's Mary Margaret O'Hara I'd be into it, but like it needs some foundational context that I can relate to. Yeah, that is the lady from Schitt's Creek. It is the sister of the lady from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Yeah, right. I knew. I was half joking, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I knew that it wasn't Catherine
That's already
O'Hara,
offensive or whatever, but yeah.
Okay, well, I still think it's one of those things that almost frustrates me in a sense, because you should just imagine that Fugazi's there when I'm telling you to check out Cool Criterion shit, and then I think you'll like it more. I think that's it, right? Where I'm like, I want to take a step, but once there's no Fugazi to hold my hand, it's really hard for me to want to watch a movie called Life is Sweet. Which is like just a comedy, also. Like you would.
Yeah, but it's just such a silly name.
But it's.
I don't want to watch a movie called Life is Sweet.
Your example of something pretentious is just like basically
not pretentious. Just
that would be like a Steve Carell movie if it came out over here. Like it's not even. All right. Well, anyways, this is something called Object Collection, and it seems really annoying. Like, this seems like it's too Fugazi even for us. This is some kind of, like, I don't know, free form improv.
Oh, dude, did you know? I had this, this is... I mean,
yeah,
it's
you
not just a free
explain it.
form.
You know about it more than me, probably. I
So
remember
it's
posting
like
about it on Exclaim. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's like an experimental opera that is based on the stage banter and like between song guitar noises of Fugazi. I found it because there was like a CBC headline that said "Don't expect repeater." The link keeps fucking up here, but don't expect repeater. The Fugazi opera inspired by guitar feedback and stage banter. And so it's this very experimental opera performance group that did this whole and the band loved it.
Really cool. And then you see pictures of them performing, and you're like, I've gone too far. I need to like go back to looking at DeviantArt. This is too theatrical. But there's a few samples from Repeater in their song "Ice Cream Eating Motherfucker," which is of course a reference to
one of the greatest pieces of documentary dialogue.
Like, musically, I love this too. I think for me, if there was no theater element, I would be... But if I sent you this and it wasn't Fugazi, you would turn it off also. You wouldn't listen to this.
I would never have started listening to it.
Yeah. But these people are like playing this and then like pretending to be moving into a brownstone in New York or something, like every play starts with, or...
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Have you seen the play?
No, I mean, I would though, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I guess so. I love this. I mean,
to take our interstitial. This is Guy wrote about it, I think maybe, but that link's not up. But this aggregated sort of summation of his opinion still is from BedfordandBowery.com. To take our interstitial between song non-music and to take our interstitial between song non-music and notate it with exacting detail. So it's not like inspired by, so they've like notated just the fucking around between songs on guitar was one aspect that utterly stupefied us and appealed to our sense of perversity. We were impressed.
No one
not
talks
just by
like that usually. Like, just look at that quote alone. Is like, that's like some smart guy shit to talk like that.
But I also like, would you ever be like, Fugazi, that's a band with a very finely tuned sense of perversity.
No, but he's probably referring to it in some kind of like abstract, like referring to the ego or something. He's not even like, the man's never made a dick joke in his life. Like, Guy, I don't think is a class clown at all. He's almost a teacher's pet in a way.
The class Guy, for sure.
Maybe
but here's
class.
a word that we were impressed not just by the sheer cussedness. Cussedness, a word I've not heard before.
Cussedness?
We were impressed.
Maybe?
Cussedness. We were impressed not just by the sheer cussedness of the work involved in scoring all that haphazardness, but also because a lot of that seemingly aimless doodling is to our ears almost as much of a unique fingerprint as the songs themselves.
Yeah,
this is very hard to read because it's written in the most
so dope. This to be so like after this, we finally earned I think a month of just at least feeling a little bit smart. You know, this is like.
Have you heard the word cussed, but then not knowing cussedness? Have you ever used that to mean a mean-spirited, disagreeable contrariness?
No, I love it though. We got to start using cussedness in our day-to-day, folks.
Oh, I mean, I feel like I was bringing the cussedness earlier today, so but this episode has really lifted the cussedness from me.
It's true. It has appealed to my sense of perversity in a non-sexual way. No, that's
absolutely.
Yeah, that's so sick. I just for some reason I have a bias against theatrical, like modern opera stuff and Fringe Fest, but that's more of a me thing.
It makes me want to go to theater Passe Muraille and see what's happening.
Okay.
I won't.
Well, sticking with the edits, this one also seemed kind of cool. This is an edit of of a few songs. This is by Chris Lawhorn. I don't know who Chris Lawhorn is, but this is from an album called Fugazi Edits. And this is an edit of the whole album. It takes like multiple tracks and pieces them together. This is an edit of And the Same, Reclamation, Repeater, and Break. Maybe it's showing how. Maybe it's almost adding to the critique that they're repetitive with their music that they can fit together. But
yeah, it's like that mashup of How You Remind Me and Hero or whatever. It's like two big Nickelback songs from around that time where they're just hard pan left and right, and they are structurally and melodically identical.
this is kind of dope, though.
Yeah, this is almost as good as the Nickelback one. Like, just literally in terms of being sick.
Exactly. Ooh. Oh man, Break is such a sick song. I heard Break in there. I haven't actually put on any of these albums in at least 10 years, and I think it's time.
I'm ready. I was like gonna listen to it today, and I was like, maybe I'm good. Like, yeah, I've not listened to just like a full Fugazi record casually.
I think End Hits might be my actually fave now. It used to be the argument, but I think it might be End Hits, mostly because of this great newsletter that I read named after that.
Very cool newsletter.
So this next one, I don't know what this is a mashup of, but this is a mashup of Fugazi plus FBC. I mean, can you figure it out based on, like, it seems like it's obviously some kind of a joke. There's some horrible flip-flops and some, I think, soccer jerseys for Messi. Is it Football Club? This is Fugazi plus FBC mashup by X Assembly X D Kenner Repeater. Does that make sense to anyone at home?
No, well, is FBC like the club where FBC...
Lionel Messi, also known as Leo Messi, is an Argentine professional football player.
Did he play for FBC?
Let's see. What's F?
I love the idea that this is making someone so angry.
Oh, could it be Football Club Barcelona? Maybe, but that's the wrong. That's FCB.
Yeah, FCB.
FBC News. FBC News. What does that stand for? FBCnews.fj.
Maybe they just fucked it up. They just made a mistake.
I mean, but I don't know how that relates to these flip flops or gi hanging from the hoop. But this is the Fugazi plus
Classic
FBC
pick.
mashup by X Assembly X.
No clues yet.
Yeah, there's nothing yet.
Oh, this is sick.
What is it? Decanner. Oh, Decanner is a song by FBC. So they go, okay, here's the original song, I think, that was mashed up with. Maybe. This is FBC and Voor Decanner. What does Decanner mean?
Oh, this is...
Alright. That's nice. Oh, the connoisseur is what it means.
Nice.
Okay, now that we've heard that, we should listen again to this for a second.
Decanner.
That's a very...
I appreciate that you confirmed that it wasn't like somehow accidentally a slur.
This is sick as hell. See, the repeater should be about a connoisseur, not a gun, I think, is what we've learned.
I think that's the positive, nonviolent message for you to be spreading.
Well, another positive thing, perhaps, is mashing it up with Family Guy. Now, this is Fugazi Guy. This is called Re-Beater, but I think it's supposed to be like how Lois says PETA. You know, Sarah's really good at saying PETA in a Lois impression, specifically just only that word in that voice. So this is uploaded by Hello Goto, who says, "Hey Lois, don't you know how ink washes out easier than blood?" Yeah, that's a pretty good typed out version of PETA's laugh. But Someone said, I never thought I'd live to see the day where Fugazi got memed on. That was 3 years ago. So I think, I'm sure Fugazi's been memed on before that and after. But so this is Rebeater, and it's a Peter Griffin Fugazi mashup. It's 20 seconds long. And what I love about it is how shitty the art is and also how little it sounds like Peter Griffin. It's just a terrible... Or maybe it's the other guy, Joe, saying, hey, Peter. I can't even tell. It doesn't sound like anything from Family Guy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But, I mean, the art is incredible, as you've pointed out.
I mean, it had to be played, but what do we do with it from there? I'm not really sure. So up next, kind of just in this strange zone before we get to more traditional covers, this is a real hip-hop mixtape called Fatty Acids. And
the art is fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's a big old butt on there, and it's very trippy. But I think this is
it's like a Grateful Dead like pen and pixel cover or whatever. Right? That's what those dudes were.
This is described as a carboxylic acid consisting of a hydrocarbon chain and a terminal carboxyl. This is just some shit for like old heads, like people who like have opinions about Peanut Butter Wolf or whatever would know about this. This is DJ Lipton did this, but I don't know where Fugazi fits in except that on SoundCloud it quotes, if I had a name, I had a way, and now I am just a number, Fugazi. But it's just like, this is just like some Stone's Throw type of dude.
Yeah,
just like
totally.
chilling for an hour on SoundCloud. I don't know if it, I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm going to listen to this whole thing when I'm working.
Yeah.
I love this kind of shit. So I don't know how Fugazi fits into the Fatty Acids mixtape, but,
Well, I'm just glad that we listened to some of it.
Exactly.
I also enjoyed it.
So let's get into some more traditional covers. This is the band La Dispute, who I don't think I've ever actually heard. Have you? This is a pretty big band, isn't it? Are they popular?
Yeah, because I feel like this band was coming out around the same time as like Touche Amore, and there was this whole like kind of screamo-y hardcore thing that was happening that I really liked Touche Amore, and then this band was like the one that to me was like, okay, guys, like let's chill out. Like every La Dispute song just being like, I reach my hands towards yours. It's like, shut the fuck up. And it's just like 45 fucking minutes of an album just like, no, I go home. Yes. And then but then they'll be like, this would, they'll be like, these songs are all just like the worst corny thing. They'll be like, this one's about cancer. And you're like, oh fuck. Well, now I feel like a dick.
Didn't you also go to a Scrams festival like last weekend?
I did. I went to the Toronto Scrams Fest, man. I had a fucking sick time.
Scrams Scrutherland over here.
The kids are all right, man. They're just making all the Scrams.
No, but what you just described
in Toronto is like
fucking
awesome.
It's exactly why I just don't listen to these kind of bands, because the person who's asking you if you've heard it or tells you to listen to it, they're so excited to get your opinion. So if you listen to it, then you're going to have your opinion, and then you're going to have to either try to hide it or admit that it was like the most irritating thing you've ever heard. So I've never heard of this band for that very reason. I don't want to. These people already have such hurt feelings perpetually that I don't want to contribute to that pain.
That's good. That's good of you. Yeah.
So this is my first time, but this is La Dispute covering Repeater. They've covered a few Fugazi songs. I think they have a studio recording, maybe of Waiting Room or one of them. I'm not sure, but this is them live. I mean, even the singer wiping sweat off his face with the bottom of his t-shirt seems like a screamo. But I don't think this is Scrams per se. This is some sort of realm in between like DIY screamo and like alternative press Ronnie Radke music, where it's like, it's like Thinking Man's Mall post-hardcore. Right?
Yeah, I think that's it. It's for like the intellectual suburbanite,
Yeah, it's for like the smartest guy at a Barnes & Noble, but not someone at an indie bookstore. This is in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Great city, Grand Rapids.
I don't know. This cover. See, the problem when you hear it with a band like, I mean, no disrespect, Lattice Speed is great. Thanks for showing them to me, everyone. I love them. But I think
It worked,
I think
guys.
the problem with a band like this is they don't really, I think you need to be like an art school person to cover the song and do anything good with it. To just kind of do a straightforward rockin' cover, it doesn't have that same kind of funky hat depth to it, I think, in my opinion.
I want to hear that hat.
Exactly, but that's cool. Good for them. Lattice Speed, one of my favorite bands of that era. Up next is a band called the Smoothies, which I thought was a fun name. But these guys I thought they'd be younger, but they're just older gents. But I think maybe it's because they're older Gen X looking guys. They're kind of rocking it a little more.
Well, I sort of like that they're just playing it kind of vibeless too.
This is uploaded. I guess this is uploaded in 2011 to an account called Repeater 2469. Is the name of it.
Cool. Like
I mean, if I saw this live, I would fucking hate it. But I feel like you should still be doing like nasty guitar if you're gonna cover this song. You shouldn't be doing like kind of clean cut La Dispute guitar, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
What were you trying to say?
Nothing. I just can't figure out the singer's vibe.
I know exactly. That's the thing. Like, I feel like this band has a bad vibe in a way, visually, but it works. And also, they're called the Smoothies. What kind of name is that? It's very strange.
Yeah, and these guys don't look like they'd be in the Smoothies. Like, definitely, like the rhythm section kind of looks like they have some like hustle that they run with like scratchies. Like
it reminds me of when the Hand played in Lethbridge. And we were like, I was like 17 and Johnny was like 15. And we were there and some guy was like trying to give Johnny absinthe. And I was like, please don't give him absinthe.
Please,
like, it just has like
stop.
Giving minors absinthe energy, to put it lightly.
But then the singer doesn't have that energy. The singer looks like I don't know,
But I feel like that's the thing. He's
teacher.
the one guy who like wishes they could get out of this town and like go on a DIY tour, and the other guys don't really get it. But they're like they're scratchy scam.
Yeah, scratchy scam's going pretty well, man. Why would we leave?
The other guy's like, no, don't you know? There's this whole like scene going on everywhere, and the reality is it's like 2011, and there's not a scene going on everywhere. But he doesn't know that. He believes so.
No, the news takes a long time to travel to Lethbridge.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a lot to think about it. It is quite sad, but the sadness comes out nicely with the stanky guitar. La Dispute was also on this compilation, which also featured Zayo, which I would love to hear Zayo cover Fugazi. But the thing is, this compilation is not available anywhere, and I had to download this song on SoulSeek and upload it to our YouTube. So I'm really putting in the work. This is Silence is a Dangerous Sound, a tribute to Fugazi. This is a band called Viva Belgrado, covering Repeater. I don't know. Have you ever heard of this band?
I have not, but I like the name.
Yeah, they're a Spanish band from Cordoba, Andalusia, formed in 2011. They seem pretty cool, but I guess we'll hear. So this is Viva Belgrado from Silence is a Dangerous Sound.
Ooh,
really giving it,
yeah,
giving it some new metal vibes, which I don't know how I feel. It sounds like Korn, straight up.
Yeah. Damn.
Okay, actually, Korn covering Repeater would be so sick.
Oh my god. This is amazing.
This is very weird. Belvedere is on this comp, too.
See, I love that they're like doing like this is kind of normal sounding, but I really love that like that bass being that low is like extremely corn.
I know. I
want to hear this.
I do wish, and our boy ST Manville's on this comp too, which is pretty tight.
Oh, sick!
Covering one of my favorite Fugazi songs for sure, but I'm not going to reveal the title yet in case we decide to do it. But yeah, I just think the vocals didn't really work for me on this one. I think this song.
Yeah, the vocals should have been more nu metal.
It's like even Fugazi can't always find the sweet spot for this song. So I feel like if your version of the song is anywhere close to Fugazi's version, you're also not going to find it. Like it's the point of it is to find some life in it, not to. But you know what? It's okay. Doing their best. Up next though, this one I think is really, really popping. This is the Portland School of Rock, and got to skip ahead a little bit. I don't know how old these kids are, but they've definitely got the vibe down. One I think is that the bass player is wearing an off trucker hat, and they do the start like that 2002 recording. Check it out. It's just like that's the shit right there. Just get stanky as fuck with that part. That's what you gotta do.
Make it your own, you know?
The singer's gotta be like 14. The bass player with the off hat kind of looks like a Gatton whatever from Stranger Things.
Oh, for sure. This is great. Yeah, fucking Punk Dustin on the bass here.
Oh man, he's dancing on the fretboard too.
Awesome.
So that was sick. I love those kids. This is another sort of. It seems like it might be a School of Rock thing. I'm not sure, but it was uploaded by someone named Shannon, and it said that it was a night called SST versus Discord. So they must have been doing covers of both, but it looks like a bunch of little kids on stage. Actually, I think it might say School of Rock Music on the back. I just noticed on that banner, that really shitty banner.
Maybe.
And one of the guitarists has like a anarchy symbol on their shirt, so that's sick as hell.
Yeah, I think you're right. But like with the kids, I always think the people who attend these things were really young to care about things like SST versus Discord.
I know,
that feels like that's for the parents.
But we're now in an era where it is a lot of parents there's that Onion article about like raising your kids on cool media that will make them totally alienated from their peers. But I think too many parents did that, and now there are like probably a bunch of young kids who know all about Jessica Hopper and Fugazi, and they're just like they're living the 99. They like have opinions about this real jockey and stuff probably.
Right. The bass player is like 6.
Yeah, and he's playing with his fingers, Justin style.
The only guy who ever played without a pick.
The singer seems old also, but it's tight, and he's got a real good Ian MacKaye voice going on.
Yeah, this is so good.
Yeah, these kids are rocking it. It also is like jarring when you're like listening to pop punk and then listening to Fugazi. Like the drums take a minute to get used to as well because they're so like syncopated and funky and not at all punk really at first. But yeah, I loved that one. This one is an interesting one. This is a band that is called Repeater because they're a Fugazi cover band, and this is them playing it live at a place called Drunkies in October 2021. Or is that August 2021? Sarah was pointing out the other day that it really fucked us both up.
Americans do a different,
because there was that band called Day, Month, Year, and now we never know what order it is. Like, is this August 10th or October? This is at Drunkies Two Shoes Barbecue. Now, to be a Fugazi cover band, I don't think they're trying to look like Fugazi, are they? These guys?
No, I can't picture the lightning bolt guitar strap ever on stage with Fugazi.
This is October 8th, 2021. So is that written the American way or the Canadian? That's Canadian. That's day, month, year.
I'd say it looks October-y to me.
Yeah, okay, it's true. So this is Repeater live at Drunkies.
Sorry, the full Drunkies Two Shoes Barbecue.
Drunkies Two Shoes Barbecue. I mean, it's not the most Fugazi vibe to be playing in a barbecue spot called Drunkies. Particularly, the carpet is drawings of guitars that belong in a man cave. The sign Drunkies painted behind the drummer, who kind of looks like Nick Swardson, does look like maybe a painting that would be on a sign in an Adam Sandler movie. And then there is a dead deer on the wall, mounted on the wall behind them with a bunch of rusty blades. I mean, it's very not so much the NPR Punk Planet vibes of Fugazi, I think.
That's just Drunkies, baby.
And the singer is like probably Ian MacKay's age, but he kind of does some Future Islands dance moves when they perform.
He's jacked like the Harm's Way singer, and definitely doing Future Islands stuff. He's kind of got like.
There we go. Yeah, see what I'm talking about? Now, do you think he's trying to do Future Islands, or is he just doing his own vibe? Like,
I think this man's doing his own vibe. He's just a fit sort of 50-year-old guy.
I mean, the guitarist is also like so ripped.
It's like, but he's also feels like he's got the mic technique of the Sleaford Monster. So it's like a lot of vibes happening here. And I just want to emphasize, in the face, he looks like former Toronto Blue Jays manager John Gibbons. Just picture all of that and then put John Gibbons on.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. And he's definitely looking at the lyrics on an iPad.
Here's another really good vibe. The video is credited to Rambunctious Visual Marketing, who produced it. Check out the Rambunctious Visual Marketing page.
Oh wow. They do it all. You can launch your own brand. There's definitely some photos of the boys up here.
Yeah, there's
name again?
Repeater. They're called Repeater.
Oh, they're called Repeater. Sorry. There are photos of Repeater like places. This is clearly a big part of their.
Is there anyone in the venue? It's hard to tell. I don't think. Oh, someone's clapping. Honestly, they're kind of cooking. I would love to. Oh, we see the crowd shot. Okay, there's a couple people down at Drunkies on a Monday night or whatever.
Drunkies,
I guess what day of the week was October 8th, 2021? I mean, that's my wedding anniversary. So, it was a Friday. So it was Friday night at Drunkies. I mean, you kind of, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. No minors, it says there. So it's kind of the opposite of your pizza pie place or your pie place that you love so much. But yeah, so that's Repeater, the band. I thought that was going to be. I don't know how I feel about that one. I feel like they kind of won me over in the end, the band. Repeater.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
They're so, just the opposite of Fugazi, but they're nailing it also. So that's cool.
And in that sense, isn't that does Fugazi want you to copy them or just sort of take their groovy essence and sort of carry that through in your own life?
Well, that's the thing, and that's what the next artist, L'Enfance Rouge, really did. Now, I think this one might be Italian, not French, but I think that's someone, because I think people were roasting this. This is from 2010. You Have No Control, a DIY tribute to Fugazi is what this is from. Francois Cambuzat, Chiara Locardi, Jacopo Andriani, and the one comment says "bah ha 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 ha." So it's pretty mean. But I think this one. Go ahead.
Does calling it a DIY tribute to Fugazi, is that sort of a sub-comping the other Fugazi tribute? Sort of just by implication?
That's true. I think this one might predate the other one, because this is from 2010, and it is Italian. But yeah, that's true.
Oh, okay,
I mean, who knows what they mean in Italy. Do it, the Italian youth could be who's doing this covers, really. But here we go. L'Enfance Rouge. I mean, they're going places with this already.
Yeah.
They're taking us for a ride. This is sick as hell. This is the shit.
This is fucking awesome. It's actually like interesting, like he's doing different.
Yeah, they're kind of got like a suicide vibe or something, or like.
Braccardo clandestino, ho imparato a essere una canaglia.
Oh, yes!
Prendo un
Fuck
doppio
yes!
Un tempo avevo un nome e un modo, ora per te sono un numero. I'm nothing but a number.
It's getting a little stanky, but it's working.
It's absolutely working.
As-tu entendu quelque chose d'or? On aurait dit un coup de feu. Ne reste pas à la fenêtre. Ce n'est sûrement pas quelqu'un que nous connaissons.
That's
That
what
was
it-
fucking awesome.
I mean, that's
Hats off to the
Fugazi
Italian
for
youth.
you.
I mean,
That's Fugazi for you. So I think we're gonna end with that one. I think maybe we can deliver our final thoughts over top of this karaoke version of the song.
oh man, imagine what a fucking vibe killer you would be doing. I was picturing going into like a normal bar and doing repeater. Unless like if you like really went in on the dancing, maybe
It would never
If
work.
you
Well,
danced repeater, if you did
Maybe-
the repeater style to repeater.
maybe in like 10 years when it's all Gen Z kids who were raised on this, it'll work. But for now, it's like, I was hoping you'd start singing it, but
Oh no, I was listening.
But I think for now it's got to probably be Phoebe Bridgers at karaoke is the most all you're gonna get. Sam, I had a great night talking about repeater. I think whatever this month is called, however you want to say it, we're gonna have a great time, and the haters can, go listen to a different show if they want, because maybe we'll talk about Fugazi from now on. Maybe that's what we should do.
This is just a Fugazi. Can you imagine, like, we're just sort of deep in Red Medicine tracks, just like, oh, this no one is listening anymore.
That's what we need. We need a catalog that has things as awful as Birthday Pony and things as good as Birthday Pony, really, ultimately.
That's sort of what you and I are always chasing. I was already excited with this month. Like, I truly am like, oh, this is gonna be good, man. Fugazi rocks. The pod rocks. I'm stoked.
We were thinking of doing the month August Burns Red for August, and I knew the biggest August Burns Red fan I've ever met is my former intern, James Wilt. So, James, real quick, what do you think about August Burns Red?
Yeah, I'd honestly forgotten about them until like 30 minutes ago when you brought it up, and I revisited them, and it was it was great. They're one of the top tier bands, top 10 of all time, easily.
What, this is a music show. What else were you listening to when we worked at Fast Forward together when you were like a really annoying 15-year-old or whatever? I remember
child labor.
I think you reviewed Macklemore for me, didn't you? And you were like, oh, this is so hyped. The Macklemore.
Yeah. No, I got really into Macklemore, but like, I don't know, the August Burns Red area would have been, all the classics in that orbit, like Under Oath, Norma Jean, Chariot, all that Christian metalcore that like we grew up on. But yeah, then when I was your child laborer, you introduced me to the world of hip hop, and so and then you said, James, you should listen to this great new album by Macklemore, and
I didn't call it great. There's no way. In fact, I think you said to me, you should let me review Macklemore, and I was like, what the fuck is this? But you know what? That was then. This is now. We're going to be talking about we're going to be putting a different era of James's writing under scrutiny this week.
Oh boy.
But I also want to welcome to the show the editor of Repeater Books, Josh. Josh, what's up?
Hi, thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be on the pod. After 5 years of listening to it,
that's true. So
I finally made it.
You finally made it. So Josh is, a longtime listener. This is your first time doing a pod, and we don't have any picks, but you're kitted out. I mean, James looks like shit compared to you. You're ready to go. But Josh, so I mean, I guess first off, like, how did you even hear about the pod?
My friend George showed it to me, and he heard about it from his friend James Barge, who I think knows Sam or met Sam when Sam toured in England. But he showed me it, and the first one that I listened to was the Benoit Balls episode. I think I was like trying to think yesterday what was the first one. I was like, I think it was that one, which is like probably like one of like the kind of like sillier ones.
Yeah, I feel like if that one was definitely a hard I'm into this or I'm not into this test.
Yeah, and I was into it. So.
That's great. And then
they got me.
Since then you're responsible for like the heartbreaking twee covers of Hinder. I can't remember what else you did, right? There was a few.
I did Bick of Death, and I did the first one. I was a teenage anarchist.
Oh yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then like I did two God ones.
Yes,
well.
So good. Okay, but so we've got some people. It's feeling a little circle jerky. It's not just that I know them, but there's a very interesting thing that happened. And for me, the pod has been a lesson in even at this point, I really have started to love Sam. I think he's hilarious and great, but it really pays off to bully him, is what I've noticed. And this is an example of it because Josh, you listened to the pod. Mm-hmm. And then you heard James come on. So what happened, for those who have not listened to everything, is James was telling, James and I have this ongoing chat that we have that at this point I'm just trying to get out of it, but I can't. It's an endless shit stream from this guy. But James and I were talking, I forget how this came up, but we were talking about how like the CIA, what was it again? The CIA like funds Netflix stuff?
I don't think I ever put it that explicitly, but it was just like a lot of the shit that's coming out just feels like very like compromised. Like, I don't know, like Stranger Things, obviously, with their like anti-Soviet kick of recent years, but also like a lot of their documentary work and everything. So I think I just like postulated that, like, I mean, it's clear that there's like some sort of involvement by like federal agencies in this. So I think that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah.
And then I brought that up to Sam, who was just like, come on, of course it's not. Like, just classic Sam, everything's fine all the time. Yeah. He's in a house that's not on fire and he's saying this is fine. He's like even more optimistic than that dog from the cartoon. And then it was like so funny to, first of all, dunk on Sam at that level, and then have James come on the show to kind of confront Sam. And he just kind of folded immediately. But Josh, that's where you first heard the voice of the sort of narrative voice of James Wilt, right?
Of James, yeah. I heard the episode and thought straight away, this could be a good idea for a book. Because it's just like the kind of stuff that we do.
Right. So I mean,
DM James basically. Yeah.
And so that's so good. I need to look up actually in real time what episode James was on, because I'm sure he doesn't fucking remember.
No, why would I?
But so I guess let's pause right there. Oh yeah, love is dangerous. So yeah, is that the very? That's so good. Let's pause right there, and Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Repeater Books?
Okay, so it's like a radical imprint. We publish kind of like cultural studies books from the left. So books about music and art and film from the left. And it was started in 2014 by Mark Fisher, who's kind of one of like the English left's most innovative writers, and Tarek Govrard, who's a novelist. They had both started Zero Books in 2007, which did the same sort of thing. And then they had like a strike at Zero Books over like paying conditions with the holding company who owned the press. And then like the whole team resigned en masse, Tarek and Mark included, and then they set up the new imprint in 2014.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, a real quick aside, I remember it's embarrassing. For me, I'm not really that, I don't know. It's not something I have much of a stake in at this point, but I just remembered in 2017, I was reading Kill All Normies because of all the hype. And I noticed that Barack Obama had been misspelled on the very first page. And I tweeted about it. And then Zero Books said, "You received an early printing. There was so much clamoring after the title. We rushed through production. That has been corrected," they said.
Yeah.
I guess you had maybe they had sent the early one. I mean, I also bought it off of Amazon, which I thought was pretty funny too. Just kind of a nice full circle of funny things happening with that.
So when the team left Zero, they didn't own any of the rights to any of the names and stuff. So like the holding company bought in like a scab team basically to like run the imprint. And Kill All Normies was the first book that they did.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
My main problem with Kill All Normies was that there just wasn't clear enough instructions on how to do it in the book. You know, like it's kind of like how to blow up a pipeline or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so then obviously James is dunking on Sam. You're like, oh my God, I wish there was. Imagine I mean, I don't know if you're really trying to dunk on Sam like I am, but you probably seem to have loftier goals of fixing the world or something. For me, it would just specifically be publishing a book internationally just to shove it in Sam's face, is what I would like. But, that didn't happen. That specific book didn't happen. So then what happened next?
We kept in contact. I loved James' other book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Cars? Plug there for James.
Thanks, Josh.
And then James sent me an article he had written. I don't know where it was for.
It was for Passage, which is like a Canadian left publication.
Okay. On like the themes of the book. And then I think you suggested to me that you wanted to do a book on it, right? And then went from there.
Yeah. Like super quick turnaround too. Like it felt like within days of sending in the proposal, you're like, yep, let's do it. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. And so the book is called...
Yes, Josiah?
I can't remember. I already can't remember. Drinking Up the Revolution, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I can forget the subtitle. I know that there's a great quote from someone on the inside.
Yeah, that's right.
It's true, yeah.
Here, I can read it out. I got it right here.
Why don't you say the full title of the book and tell us what it's about first, for those who are not.
Okay, it's called Drinking Up the Revolution, How to Smash Big Alcohol and Reclaim Working Class Joy. And the third blurb on the first page is by one Josiah Hughes. And it says, "You might feel a general anxiety about society's worsening relationship with alcohol, and Drinking Up the Revolution explains why."
Oh, damn, that's so good. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed it. Are those in alphabetical order, or why am I listed?
They are.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. I was
Oh, no. They are not in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What the fuck? They're listed in order of clout. Okay, so, I mean, I honestly... I don't know if everyone does this or not. This is my first time having a quote in a book, I think. Although, yeah, like at least that kind of... What is that called? An endorsement or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
It's my first time doing an endorsement, and I was trying to decide, like, what kind of endorser am I going to be? And I decided I'm going to be the kind who does read the entire book first before I do it. So I did read the whole thing.
That's pretty rare.
I loved it. Is it? Is that
Yeah.
true?
Oh, yeah.
I was like scrambling too because I feel like it was like I had it for so long, and then the deadline was for needing the quote was like I think I read it in a weekend.
Yeah, didn't you buy like a iPad or something?
I bought an iPad just to read it,
and then complain to me for like weeks after.
Because I was like, I've used the iPad for other things since, but not really too much.
I'm pretty sure you were trying to invoice me for the iPad.
Yeah. I mean, I've used it only for like very evil things, like looking at Amazon or Uber Eats. So I don't know. I think it's I think it's a neutral. I think it's a morally neutral iPad at this point with those two things.
Yeah, balance out.
But what I love about the book, like I obviously have talked a lot about sobriety on the pod, and I do love. I can't help it. I'm just a sucker for like a schmaltzy sobriety story. But I love how this one's not that at all. It really is just about like evil business people.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, you even hate non-alcoholic beer. It seems.
No, I like it. I just I think that the way that it's being like produced and marketed by these like huge alcohol companies like Heineken or Bud or whatever is like pretty insidious. Like in the same way that like electric vehicles being produced by GM or Ford or whatever are, I would argue, like mostly like a marketing gimmick or like a way to like kind of delay like stricter regulations that would actually address like the issues at hand. But you know, I think like non-alcoholic drinks are amazing. Like and a lot of them like taste really good. I mean, you're always getting like the fancy ones from like the boutique grocery store you live on top of or whatever.
Hell yeah. I love it.
Not to give away your location.
The one boutique grocery store in Montreal.
I did want to say actually, in Germany, there's whole supermarkets just for drinks.
Wow!
Oh my god!
You would absolutely love it, Josiah. There's like just drinks,
bevy paradise,
like an entire supermarket, like huge.
That's wild.
That must be why they call it Bavaria.
Nice.
Now, Josh, I have a few more questions about the publisher, but I guess first off, you know, I've also been, because I'm unfortunately friends with James, I've been with him through this whole journey of writing the book to completion. And I think one thing, maybe I don't know if I'm speaking on behalf of James. I think what I've also thought was people are going to be mad about this book. But I haven't really seen anyone too mad yet. I mean, what did you guys think over there? And have you found, has anyone like yelled at you at the pub?
Not yet.
Okay.
It hasn't been out very long yet, so there's still time. For like,
still lots of time,
people to get angry. But yeah, I thought people would be angry, especially in the UK, because drinking culture is just like so embedded there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I also think
on the left too, you know.
I was going to say, I find that it seems like the leftist people, at least on Twitter or whatever, it is all about just like kind of partying and drinking and stuff too. So that's kind of, it's an interesting perspective to bring that into that context.
And that's why I knew that I wanted to do the book right away, because like no one else is saying this.
Right.
It's just James is saying this, no one else is.
But I think with regards to the people getting mad thing, that's definitely something that like stressed me out a lot during the writing process, was just like anticipating the response, which I think like, you know, anyone who's making work for public consumption thinks about, you know, how it's going to be received. But
I mean, or you could just record free thoughts for 6 hours a week and just put it out every time.
Total free association.
Not remember any of it.
Nothing planned. Yeah.
And it all works out great, honestly. But I guess you could do your way too.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like the transit book was like, I think super interesting to work on and everything. But for the most part, like, on the left, it's not that controversial a subject. Like, you know, most people you'll talk to are like, yeah, we should have more buses, you know, Elon Musk sucks or whatever. Like, it's not really like something that you're going to argue about. With this one, and for like a lot of good reasons, I think people like are a bit more skeptical, just because of like the memories of the failures of prohibition and the ongoing like criminalization of the war on drugs. So yeah, it was like pretty anxiety producing to write, which is funny that we're all talking, because it was really both of you along with my partner who like talked, or like not talk. It wasn't like pressure, but it was just like supported through the process where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like there was definitely like a moment during the summer I was writing it where I'm like, I got to tap out or whatever, which I did for like a couple of weeks, and then I just came crawling back. But all that's to say that like I'm definitely anticipating some pushback or more pushback that we've gotten. Like Josh said, it's only been out for a couple of weeks. There's hopefully going to be like a larger like an article in a larger publication by the time that this comes out.
So you might have already been killed by a
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so these could be my final words on this.
I can count.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the one other thing about the kind of drinking culture is like it's also just like outside of leftist or British culture. I mean, maybe because they're trying to seem both leftist and British, but all journalists seem to love to performatively drink as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like part of the persona, which I think we've talked about before. Not on 155. Was it for Blink? I don't know. We did
the Pint in the Pageman.
That's
the
right.
Pint in the Pageman.
That's right. Yeah. We did it. What podcast was that for though?
That was for this one. I don't know. It's all just one big pile of shit. But I mean, I know it's not a personal sobriety thing, but you are sober, I think, still.
Yeah.
And you're not acting like it on chat, but okay. But was that like a part of your writing practice before to like? Because for me, I would always be like, oh, I'm gonna buy a bottle of Jameson because I have to write a 500-word like music interview, and that's gonna help somehow. And then it would. For me, I would find it would take like 3 days to write something that now takes me like 2 hours because I'm not fucking wasted at my desk.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did like participate in that quite often. And it kind of becomes like a self-reinforcing thing where you convince yourself that in order to write you have to be drinking or whatever, but like it's obviously not like a controlled experiment. You're not doing a comparison with what you're like when you're not drinking or whatever. So that I would say definitely like facilitated some of my like worse habits where it just became like, oh, I'm writing some shitty article. I gotta like you say, buy a bottle or something. But yeah, like in compare or like looking back, I think I still write a lot of shit while I'm not drinking, so it's not like an on-off switch or whatever. But I do think that, I wrote some pretty sloppy stuff during that time. I mean, some of which you probably had to edit, just
exactly. Josh, is Repeater Books named after? Because I know you're like a music head, obviously, and it's like a cultural leftist book. Yeah. Is it named after the Fugazi song, or am I just doing some fun wordplay?
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think so.
Okay, but
I don't think so.
I mean, can you just say that it is so that this all makes sense?
Yeah. Okay. It is 100%. It is. Yeah.
But are you a fan of Fugazi?
I pretended to be one when I was 15.
You had to. You had to.
You just had to,
Right.
I hadn't actually thought about them for a long time until you asked me to do this. And I listened to the song and it was fine. When I was 15 and trying to seem cool and like thought I was too cool for Blink-182, I told people that I liked Fugazi and like Minor Threat and stuff. But I just didn't really. I just like Weezer instead.
Hell yeah, I love to hear it. It does seem like Fugazi, lyrically they got some stuff going on that's pretty up your alley, I think. Like this song definitely seems to have there's definitely some themes that seem very progressive or leftist, but I don't know. It does definitely sound like shit sometimes. If you're not in the right mood, you're like, oh my god, what is this?
The snare sound when it's like just the snare being hit is horrible in the song. I listened to it like just before this, and I was like, what? I mean, the snare sound is just awful. It sounds like the snare sound from Saint Anger, Metallica song. It's just horrible. I just couldn't get past it.
It does. Totally. James, what do you think? You used to pretend to be a music journalist.
I don't know. I never really listened to Fugazi before an hour ago. So I listened to the song and it sounded like shit to me, but I was saying to you, I listened to that song and then you made some joke about August Burns Red. So I went to their Bandcamp and I was like, oh, what have they been up to? But I don't know. It's just all so overwhelming. All I'm listening to these days is really chill, soothing, Lost Kill, just very repetitive synth stuff. So anything beyond that just kind of gets my anxiety going. Well, so that's my review of Fugazi.
To answer the ultimate, should the month have been August Burns Red or Fugazed, which is what we've gone with, what did you think was better between August Burns Red and Fugazi today in your listening?
Well, I think I just have more nostalgia for August Burns Red, so I'll go with that.
What is August Burns Red? Sorry, I have no
idea. This is such a niche conversation.
Is it Christian CanCon hardcore?
It's not CanCon, but
they're Pennsylvania. But
oh my god, you know stats about their bio?
Oh my god, Under Oath's Florida. August Burns Red's Pennsylvania. But very very Christian metalcore and I think we've talked in the past maybe. About,
I don't think I've ever heard them actually, to be honest, because I am older than you, and I was definitely when you were like an annoying little intern. And talking about that, I was like, good Lord, get this guy out of here. But so, no, I don't think I've ever actually heard them. I think that's after my time. But my understanding is that it's Under Oath that's even less edgy. Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah. It's less edgy, and I think they would make claims to being more technical with their instrumentation or whatever. But I don't know. It's all part of this fascinating world of Christian metalcore that I've always wanted to look more into it because
don't fucking pitch a book right now, okay?
I'm not.
And also I need to read, and also I should write that book, not you. So
the leftist potentialities of Christian metalcore.
We can collaborate. No, but there, at least for a time, there was a subgenre of Christian metalcore that was extremely top of their class kind of thing, and I've never really figured out how or why that happened. I think a lot of it is to do with repression and not having any other outlets.
It's exactly the Christian bands they were the best at third wave ska, metalcore. I can't remember what else, but the most embarrassing genres they were always the best at. And I think
it's true.
I think I said this on another podcast recently, but I think where other bands were trying to get laid, Christian bands were trying not to get laid. So I think they were the best at the most embarrassing music.
Well, and it became a huge scandal when Spencer from Under Oath said that he was still snorting coke or whatever. I think the band basically fell apart when there was that discussion or sexual promiscuity or whatever they term it.
So this is the guy that wants you to read his book about alcohol.
Everyone, this is a great
incredibly serious leftist takedown of
the minutia of global alcohol policy.
I'm glad that we can bring everything back to this.
But okay, before Zoom kicks me off because I don't pay for it, both of you, I guess. James, tell us, what's the ISBN? I don't know how you fucking plug a book on a podcast, but do that. And then Josh, let us know what else we should be checking out that has nothing to do with James.
Yeah. Well, you can find it on Repeater's page, their website, or I don't know, other websites that I won't name or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I can actually give a quick series pitch.
Do it
for 2 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, basically I was dissatisfied with the lack of serious analysis of alcohol as a very prominent, celebrated, enjoyed substance in a lot of countries, a lot of cultures. especially given like how much focus and rightfully so there is on like what it looks like to legalize and regulate currently criminalized drugs. And the reason that I contextualize it within that is because I think that the way that alcohol has been legalized and regulated is like arguably like the worst possible way, which is to say that it's been completely monopolized by like huge capitalist powers. And so as a result, like there's a very, very direct economic incentive to proliferating alcohol consumption, which of course comes with like many, many harms that we don't have time to get into today. So, but like in the same sense, I was dissatisfied with the way that public health approaches talk about it, which tends to be very sort of like anti-joy, anti-pleasure, like demonizing people for trying to seek out like one of the few pleasures there is in society, like you know, in the context of like crushing alienation and climate change and all the rest. And so it was trying to do this kind of dual thing where it was trying to you know, speak to the real legitimate concerns people have with criminalization of substances, while at the same time, like kind of pushing back against some of the more draconian public health measures. So it's trying to find like a middle ground in the sense that like we need to like reduce the ubiquity of alcohol, but at the same time we need to rebuild like legitimate pleasurable alternatives, because if you just do one without the other, people are going to get justifiably like really mad and revolt, and it's not going to work. So it's basically like trying to think about alcohol in terms of like structures and politics and capital and these sorts of things, rather than just like the tendency to individualize the problem, which happens even, you know, among straight edge, you know, circles for the most part, or you know, like the sobriety memoir, that kind of thing. It's very much about like self-actualization and self-realization and all those kind of things, which is essential, but it's really not sufficient given the scope of the problem. So that's the 2-minute elevator pitch, or maybe slightly longer.
It was a bit longer. And also, Ian Mackay from Fugazi invented straight edge, and you're going to come on here and disrespect him like that?
I think there's a lot of like, you know, worthwhile parts to the discourse, but it's just limited, is from what I'm saying, from my own limited understanding.
As a guy who thinks August Burns Red is good, is going to come talk trash on Straight. Okay, and Josh, what else should we check out? I mean, are you still playing music? And obviously, whatever else you want to.
Can check out my twee shoegaze band, the BVs. We got like Spotify and stuff, and you should check out all of our books on our website, because there's like tons of fun music ones and like serious philosophy ones and fiction and stuff, memoirs, all from like a left-wing perspective.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Josiah. Always a pleasure.